Hello, welcome to Global AI Bootcamp Charlotte 2025. I'm Nicholas, and I'm joined with Boomer. You want to say hi?
Hello, hi, welcome everyone.
Yeah, so today we have some sessions, and just before we get started, we're just going to go through some of the housekeeping. So just bear with me myself. Let me just check my screen. Okay, can you see this? Uh, yeah, so the code of conduct is that uh, we want everyone to be positive and behavior, show respect, give them feedback. No other type of behavior is not required, and just well again be responsible, really. And the next session of this event is Agent Con 25, which is to be held at Netherlands in Utrecht. It's going to be all based on agents and using AI Foundry. So you can scan this code in order to get registration details to take part in the Netherlands one for AgentCon. And this code is for the badge, the bootcamp badge, the Global AI Charlotte Bootcamp badge. So you scan this barcode, and there's a QR code on the right-hand side as well to get started. So the agenda is we're gonna play like 3 minutes of the Global AI community keynote videos, and then followed by a keynote by Priyanka, and then there's gonna be a panelist discussion on the AI future innovation and ethics inclusion by Ivanka. I can't pronounce it properly. Sorry about that. And Panmini as well. Some build your own agents, semantic kernel, and unlock a document inside Azure AI and 5 modules, and build your own co-pilots. So I would let's just play some minutes of the video for you of the welcome keynote. Let me know if you can hear this, please. Can you hear it, Boomer?
No, Nick, I'm
You
still
can't?
seeing yours. Yeah, I'm still seeing your deck.
Okay, sorry. I thought.
Yeah, perfect.
Hi, I'm Asha Sharma, Corporate Vice President of AI Platform at Microsoft. And every day, I get to work with teams that are pushing the boundary of what AI can do. We're helping developers, scientists, businesses, and people around the entire world use AI to unlock new possibilities. AI is changing the way we build, it's changing the way we create, and how we innovate. And as developers, you are at the heart of this transformation. Whether you're working on
Sorry. Yeah, it's fine. Can you not see it? Sorry.
applications, optimizing workflows, or pushing the boundaries of what is possible. AI is no longer a future technology. It is here, it is right now, and it is shaping the way that we work and the way that we live. Now, the beauty of AI is that it's not just for researchers and scientists in a lab. It's actually for every single developer. From integrating AI-powered tools in your daily workflows to building the next generation of applications, AI is an amplifier of human potential, and the best part, the tools and models are available today to make it more accessible than ever before. So in this keynote, we're going to take you on a journey through AI for developers. You're going to hear from some of the brightest minds in the industry about why AI matters, how Python has been so foundational to AI's rise, the latest advancements in AI agents, and how we can all build AI responsibly. The opportunity is in front of us, and it's massive. As developers, you're not just coding, you're shaping the future. Whether you're just getting started with AI or you're already building with it, there has never been a better time to dive in. So, welcome to the Global AI Bootcamp 2025.
Thank you, Asha, for setting the stage for today's keynote. AI is transforming the way we build software, and as developers, we have a huge opportunity to be part of this revolution.
I'm Roland, and this is Sammy, and we'll be your host as we travel to speak with some of the most influential voices in AI, exploring how it's shaping development, what's next, and how we can all get started.
Behind the scenes, our third board member and producer, making all of this possible, Genk, who's ensuring we capture every moment and bringing you the best conversations.
This keynote is part of the Global AI Community, an independent organization with over 85,000 members worldwide. Right now, all over the world, bootcamps are taking place in over 100 locations, just like this one. And together, we're reaching more than 250,000 people around the world.
Now, this is more than just an event. It's a movement. A global effort to help developers of all backgrounds to learn, build, and grow in AI. And today we're kicking things off with someone who knows exactly why developers need to embrace AI, Scott Hanselman.
Scott is a developer, educator, tech leader who's passionate about making AI accessible to everyone. So let's dive into why learning AI is essential for developers. Hi, Scott. We're here with the Global AI Community at the Global AI Bootcamp. Could you please help us make sense of what's happening in the AI space?
I think it's getting a little out of control. I know that everyone's excited about AI, but I think it's a great opportunity at the AI Bootcamp for everyone to just chill out a little bit. You don't have to put AI on everything. Additionally, I think it's important for us to remember that AI sits on top of data science, on machine learning, on deep learning, on statistics itself. And while it feels like AI just came out last year and we should all pivot and run in the direction of AI, in fact, it's been around for a very long time, and there's a lot of really great experts, some of which we've collected today, that can put this stuff into context. So I'm excited about AI, but let's all just chill.
And during this keynote, we're coming from several different angles, and hopefully you can shed some light on the developer side of things. Why should they start learning AI today?
Well, I remember when I went from a black and white screen to a color screen, and I got syntax highlighting, and I was looking at code that wasn't all one color, and then I got autocomplete, and then I got IntelliSense, and now I've got spicy autocomplete because I've got GitHub Copilot that can help me as a developer, not just generate code, but better understand my code. I tend to use the Socratic method, and I interview GitHub Copilot as if it were an intern that was helping me with my code. Developers should think about what AI could do for them while they're writing code, what it can do for their DevOps experience while they're maintaining their sites, and then what it can do for their customers, because not everything needs a Copilot and not everything needs a chatbot, but little strategic uses of AI within an application can really make a user's experience a lot better. And I think developers need to look at the full spectrum of things that GPTs can offer.
As the vice president of developer communities, you must talk to a lot of developers just feeling overwhelmed. Where should they start?
I think that's a great point. People are overwhelmed. People are worried about their jobs. People are worried about where they fit. And I think that you are smarter than the AI. We need to remember that this is an artificial intelligence. We are creative, we are intelligent, and we are in the driver's seat. So it's not going to be AI that takes your job. It's going to be some nameless, faceless suit out there in the world. And what we need to do is figure out how we can use AI to make our jobs better, easier, more fun, how we can reduce toil. That word toil is one that I've really been focusing on. Which parts of my job are boring and tedious? Before AI, I would automate a lot of those things by writing batch files and PowerShell scripts. Now I'm using AI to write batch files and PowerShell scripts to automate the most boring parts of my job so I can focus on the fun, creative stuff.
The role is constantly changing for developers. What are some practical things they can do to infuse AI?
Well, you mentioned how do they educate themselves? And I didn't answer that well because I feel like people need to know that there's a ton of free courseware. Like if you go to developer.microsoft.com/AI, right on the top there's 3 main links that point to MIT licensed open source GitHub repositories with full courses. You can do a course in a weekend, or you can have a full 26-week course that you could teach at the university level. And I think understanding at some depth how these things work. If you treat AI as a scary black box that you send strings to and strings come back, I think you're going to be unhappy as a developer. But if you understand what's really going on at the math level beneath, it'll help you better contextualize AI in your life and how you want to fit it into your work.
So that really fits into knowing that one level deeper you always talk about.
Yeah.
How can we ensure developers don't skip that step with a lot of things they do, because those LLMs are way too smart?
That is a great point. They do feel smart. It is easy to be amazed when a parrot talks back and you go, wow, that parrot speaks English. That's amazing. But the parrot is only parroting back what it hears around them. For us to really understand that AIs learn from your data, and they are nothing without your data. So if your company does not have your data organized in a useful fashion, then your AI is going to produce garbage. And that's why remembering that the data that you have, the information that you have as a person, or the information that your company has collected in data and data lakes makes the AI better. Understanding that relationship and learning.
So in conscience of time, I'll just give you the link here for everyone to watch it in your spare time. So just keynote video. So yeah, so that's the URL for the keynote video. Oh, it's sent to everyone. Oops. Okay, so our first session of the keynote will be by Priyanka.
Hey guys, hello.
Let me just remove this slide. So just conscious of time. Would you like to share your screen, Puma? Would you like to introduce Priyanka?
So, right. Right, so here we have Priyanka. We are absolutely thrilled to welcome someone who wears many hats. MVP in AI trailblazer, and passionate leader as well. So please join me in welcoming Priyanka Shah, who will set the tone for today's journey into the world of Gen AI, innovation and leadership. Stage is yours, Priyanka.
Thank you, Puma. Thank you, Nico. And a lovely welcome to all the audience members today joining us on a Global AI Bootcamp. Without further ado, let me set the stage for today's session, and here we go. I won't be taking a lot of your time, but just, because we talk a lot about, AI, and as we heard in the keynote also, AI is changing the face of the world as we see, and it is superpowering, supercharging work. So the question which we should ask today ourselves is how to do AI right? So look, when Gen AI imploded on the scene, what we saw was a flurry of applications which were enterprise search, right? So knowledge mining, search on your data, what came to be known as RAG, retrieval augmented generation applications. Then after that, there was ways to improve the RAG accuracy. Then came agents, then agentic RAG, graph RAG, many other iterations of agent tool chains, RAG accuracy, monitoring your applications. But the essence of the AI question still remains the same: how to do AI correctly, how to do AI right, how to ensure that AI fetches you the most optimum and accurate results. So if you broadly look at the LLM tool chain, okay, you have LLMs, which are the brain behind all of your supercharged, super powerful applications. Okay, LLMs could be your cloud providers, could be your third party models, could be your open source models. Then you have your proprietary data and LLM memory, the compute which is afforded to you either by your on-prem hardware or your cloud compute. Orchestration, where different LLMs and different tool chains are orchestrated. And finally, you have something which forms the very crux and the backbone of doing AI right, which is evaluation and continuous monitoring, experimenting, and improving, which in turn is termed together as observability, right? So, if you currently look at some of the common pains which AI teams or we as AI developers face in LLM app development and rollout is, we have this early development, which is a quick POC, MVP, prototype to set the stage. We do evaluation and iteration for benchmarking, deciding on the metrics, performance, throughput. And then when we feel the app is ready with the correct versions of the LLMs, with the correct amount of accuracy, throughput, latency, and all the works, then the app is launched. We are actively collecting the telemetry data, and we are collecting the evaluation data, and keeping a lookout for hallucination and prompt guardrails. And then finally, depending on the human in loop feedback or any kind of evaluation mechanism, we are then improving the performance, right? But if you look at each of the stage, so the stage, which is outlined on the left hand side, is the ideal life cycle. This is how typically you would want your AI workloads to behave in a production environment, right? But typically, if you look at the expectation versus reality, what happens is, in the early development, there's no visibility into what's happening, because LLMs, especially like your cloud provided LLMs, are a black box. We don't actually know what's going behind the scenes. How many tokens am I utilizing? Of course, you can monitor that, but at the runtime, you don't have control over how many tokens are getting utilized, whether the compute is being overwhelmed. When you're evaluating and iterating, I don't know the side effects of making a change, right? In production, I don't have any proactive protection against jailbreaks or PII leaks or bad performance. And then in the improvement, there are so many areas of an AI application that potentially we can improve, right from security, right from accuracy, right from throughput, right from PII sensitivity, data confidentiality, and so on and so forth. So if you look at the common challenges for a prod ready Azure OpenAI application, what are the usual questions which we as consultants, or we as AI thought leaders, we get from clients, right? One of the questions is, hey, look, I am good with the POC. I use some 100 500 documents, and I'm happy with the accuracy. But now in a production environment, how many OpenAI instances should I have? How do I monitor and log streaming quota usage? How do I prioritize when I should need a PTU and when I should fall back to a pay as you go instance? How many PTUs are optimum for my usage, right? And how do I ensure that if I have purchased some PTUs, I am ensuring that those PTUs are utilized, because PTUs are not cheap, right? I mean, PTUs do guarantee you a lower cost as compared to pay as you go, but then your usage has to be up to that limit for you to actually see the gains of purchasing the compute power, right? How do I round robin between multiple OpenAI instances, okay, within different regions? How do I handle the rate limiting errors? How do I enforce some kind of rate limiting to cluster of AI services, right? How do I group OpenAI services as a single endpoint and then seamlessly shift to a PTU? How can I reduce the risk of Azure OpenAI services for a single sort of failover to customers? How do I put a circuit breaker? How do I ensure that I am calculating chargeback? So imagine in an organization there are different departments who are using a shared service, shared OpenAI instance, and how do I attribute the chargeback of the usage from different departments of common instances? So these are the common challenges today, right now, as we speak, that our customers are asking us. Okay, and which is why these are the metrics which you should be thinking about for a good AI application, which will guarantee you, some cost benefit for your clients or for your enterprises, right? So you have something which is called as development metrics, where you are developing an application, and then you have something called as production metrics, where you are now rolling out your application in production. So in the development environment, we have approaches which is LLM as a judge. You have something which is code or logic based evaluations. You have annotations for golden data sets, labeling data, which is like, output is good or it is bad or it is hallucinated or it is factual, and you can score them on certain scoring scale. Okay. And then of course, the most important is your human in loop user based feedback. Your SMEs actually aligning the output of the LLMs with their idea of what is ideal. Business metrics, right? So for example, number of times that a human in loop input was required, or the user was redirected to a human in the loop, conversation ending unexpectedly. So all of those things which we call as production metrics. So these metrics are what applications, real world applications, enterprises should be thinking about for AI done right. Okay, so that is some kind of a scale for measuring your AI going right. When we look at application and evaluation metrics, they should both continue to improve, right? So improving application and also improving your metrics as well, with the help of grading new templates, annotating, finding examples, experimenting with the correct evaluation template. And if you talk about guardrails, right, you should have these kind of different guardrails, which is at a prompt level, which is at an LLM level, and then which is at a dataset level, so that you are covering all the bases, and ensuring that the application which you are developing with the help of AI is actually going in the right direction, following the correct responsible AI path, following your ethical AI guidelines, and ensuring a good AI governance, right? So which is why if you look at some of the how enterprises currently are experimenting with AI, this is the typical scenario which we get, right? So for example, each application, they have their own set of services. Each application will go to the security teams and then say that, hey, I want a use case, and I'm thinking of innovating a use case, and then I need these services. And the security team then spins up, as you can see, each department. So in your own enterprise, you might have HR department, you might have IT department, you might have your finance department, legal department. And every team from that, when they want to experiment with a particular use case, what they do is spin up a new resource group, or spin up a new subscription within your enterprise's Azure tenant. Okay. And then what you get is a clutter of different services with no accountability, with no observability and telemetry, and no insight into what is the consumption, or are these services being used productively or not. And there are potential threats of leakages of data, and then different departments not aligning to a standard enterprise practice, right? So the left hand side, let me have a laser pointer here. Yeah. So the left hand side you see is the typical spaghetti scenario which we get in enterprises routinely, where different departments are working in silos and using different Azure OpenAI instances. And we have had a situation in real life where usage of OpenAI pay as you go instance went unchecked, and a client racked up a bill of around 100,000 USD in just under 2 days because of the transactions that they were processing with the help of Azure OpenAI GPT-4 pay as you go instance. So in that case, what is the accountability, right? What kind of metrics do we have in place? Alerting mechanisms that we have put in place to ensure de-risking from these kind of inadvertent scenarios. Okay. Which is why what we need is sort of a framework, which we call it as Gen AI infrastructure. So to ensure that your AI applications, and especially Gen AI applications, are done right, it starts with a good base infrastructure which is done right. Okay. So in that case, what you see is on the here on the right hand side, You will have all your different departments which I want to experiment with the use case. Legal department might want to experiment with searching your legal policies. Same HR department might want to experiment with the searching or curating employment training programs, employee benefit plans, and HR policy searches, leave applications searches, and so on and so forth. So each application will own their own data and their confidentiality levels, right? But essentially the AI services platform with all of your Azure AI services as well as Azure Open AI services will be centralized, because when we are building a Gen AI platform or an AI platform, it has to adhere to industry standard practices. It has to adhere to that particular geography and demographic practices as well, right? With the relates to with regards to your PDPA and your sensitivity and your PII data and whatnot, right? So with that in mind, enterprises should not have to repeat the procedure of ensuring that each use case is actually a safe use case, and it is then accessing your secure AI service instances, right? So what we target and what we do is ensure that you have security accepted, approved cloud ops, network ops, and all your design council and governance forum approved platform with subnets and vnets in place, with the fallback strategies, with with the chargeback mechanisms and observability practices, telemetry, logging, everything in place, right? And the external applications are then given access to the platform via what we call it as your APIM, right? So for the applications, what we do is we just create APIM endpoints which are exposing accesses to our OpenAI services. Then they have subscription keys, they have authentication mechanisms, and then we have event hub where we log all the telemetry, so that you can have various dashboards on Azure chargeback. You can have dashboards on your tracing, logging your response, enforcing certain organization policies on rate limiting, ensuring that higher priority applications always have the first right on the organization PTUs, and so on and so forth. So this is where your applications, they just access the APIM, Event Hub, and other Azure functions. Then they ensure that all your other AI governance practices are adhered to, right? So that ensures that your platform is safe, your platform is already approved, and your applications end applications are just accessing the APIM, which is then governing and routing the applications to proper AI instances, right? And that ensures also the overhead is gone. For every new use case, what you need to do is create probably a new APIM endpoint and ensure certain other specific policies are in place, and that's it. Bingo, you're ready to start accessing your AI factory platform with all the goodness, with all the security governance approvals, and you don't have to go back and start asking questions. Hey, what is your use case? How will you ensure confidentiality? What are the instances that you're going to use? Do you require a Llama or a Azure OpenAI, and so on and so forth, right? So all of that governance is already pre-sanctioned, cleared, and all you need to do is now just give an access to the applications, requesting applications, and just hit the ground running, right? So if you look at the high level architecture of what we as Gen AI infrastructure practitioners want to have in place, is where you have all of your for example VNet subnets defined. A Terraform template is created with all of the security approvals and subnet masks and VNets and IP addresses and gateways and security policies and Azure policies and telemetry, logging, monitoring, everything in place, right? So every time you need to create an environment in dev, in test, in pre-prod, in prod, you just need to change the number of instances based on the HADR capabilities you want in that environment, and that's it. You're set, right? Because the underlying risks, the underlying best practices are already approved by the governance forums and the enterprise cloud policies and network and security policies, and that's it, right? So you are just setting up a platform within minutes, and you already have all the approvals in place. So all that needs to be ensured is the consuming applications to be given the authentication and the correct endpoints to start consuming the application, right? Okay. Again, another thing which we may want to, and applications may want to consider, is when you have multiple OpenAI endpoints, right? Even though we have an APIM at the forefront, which is managing the traffic, correct? We need to ensure that there are different load balancing policies, which will ensure that different OpenAI endpoints are attributed to different applications. So there are high priority applications which should ensure that they always get access to a PTU. There might be certain low priority applications which then should be given access to maybe pay as you go instances or lower models, right? Like not every use case might need a GPT-4o model. Some might be sufficed with the 5.3, some might be sufficed with the GPT-4o mini, and some might be even sufficed with a GPT-4 8K for that matter, right? So basis the priority of the application and the workload that is experiencing, the APIM might then route different applications to particular priority endpoints. And let's say maybe there's a PTU workload, and then that gets throttled. So it's the APIM that very gracefully fails over to your priority to instances, which could be your pay as you go GPT-4o mini or GPT-4 32K, GPT-4 8K instances, right? And so the APIM just makes that transition, that failover, very seamless, correct? And there are various ways of managing those load balancing as well. So there's something which we call as exponential backoff with retry, where instead of just failing the application in case of a rate limit 5 to 9 error, we have a backoff strategy in place, so that maybe one or two end users might experience difficulties, but then a greater number of users are still able to use the application successfully. And the couple of users who do get this rate limit error, if they retry within, the APIM automatically retries for them, and maybe with the second or third retry, it would be able to then get the desired compute and give you the result, right? And we have advanced load distribution strategies as well. So you have weight based routing. So let's say you have multiple applications, and each application, I should ensure that different endpoints are picked up with some probability, right? So not just only when the PTU is busy, then only I fail over to pay as you go endpoint, or when a GPT or 4o is busy, then only you fail over to a GPT 4o mini, or some other endpoints. Instead of that, what if I have 10 Azure OpenAI instances, and I want to ensure that each of those instances picked up per call with some probability? Maybe the probabilities can vary, but then at least each call which I'm making, either of the instance, I have a probability of picking up either of those, right? So which is why we have certain weight based routing capabilities also introduced, right? So it's an interesting play of how you will ensure that your OpenAI instances and when I say OpenAI, that's just one instance, but imagine you have multiple LLMs, right? You have a Llama 3, you have a 5.3, you have probably some NVIDIA instances, and then you want to ensure that how are you going to pick up the correct instance, and how are you going to load balance them. This is where all the strategies for intelligent load balancing and traffic management come in, right? So you also have chargeback calculations, where, as I said, different departments which are using your applications, they you want to ensure that they are being attributed the usage, right? So for example, I as a department, I'm using 50% of the PTU capability capacity which has been reserved by my organization, so I should be bearing the bulk of the costs, right? So but how to ensure that, how to have that chargeback calculation? So that is also where you have patterns for APIM, which is actually logging the telemetry to event hubs, and then event hubs are triggering Azure function apps, which are then calculating those information, which is then can be displayed on a Azure dashboard. Yeah, it is logged into application insights, and from there we can extract it from using KQL and then display it onto an Azure dashboard, right? So all of these practices which we call it, where end applications, your client applications, they are totally shut off, or they are totally not exposed to the kind of complexity which is behind the scenes. All my client application knows is they are calling an APIM completion endpoint with some token, and then all of the other intricacies where the authentication is happening, and you have your validation, and you have your OpenAI being called, and event hubs, and Azure functions being triggered, and logging to event hub happening, and tons of other security policies being put into place and whatnot, right? Load balancing, traffic management, all of that is totally not transparent to the client applications. And that is the beauty of getting your AI right. Okay, so what is the telemetry in the background, what kind of security mechanisms, and what kind of logging, monitoring, abuse monitoring, filtering, content safety, that all what we call it as responsible AI practices, ethical AI, and governance platform, getting that right is of paramount importance to ensure our first step towards getting your AI right. So with more and more AI being put into vogue in each aspect of our personal as well as professional life, and now agent, and then agent ops, and then multiple orchestration policies between agents, orchestration frameworks for orchestrating different agentic frameworks are put into place. Getting this kind of safe and secure infrastructure right is the first step towards building responsible and ethical AI applications, Gen AI applications. And with that, I open the stage to our other speakers who are going to educate you about actually putting into action some of these AI applications using various open source frameworks, agentic frameworks, using Azure AI services like document intelligence and whatnot. But then at the cost of repeating myself, the crux is when you have your base right, which is your infra platform, then you will build upon that with your application layers, and your LLM ops, and your agent ops, and your guardrails, and all of the good stuff that help you into building a proper ethical AI application. So with that, I end my keynote, and welcome again to all of you to a journey of learning, and all the best. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much, Priyanka, for that powerful and energizing, especially your perspective on AI, security, governance, responsible AI, and the future of Gen AI. It's really truly set the tone for today's event. Especially, I would like to thank you for considering it's a middle of the night on your side of the world. So really appreciate you making it happen.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Let's introduce the panelists. If anyone's...
Hey, Yuvika and Padmini, welcome both of you.
Hi, Buma. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us here. So excited to be here.
Always.
Buma, I'm having trouble. Yuvika, are you able to hear Buma clearly?
Yeah, there is like some kind of strange noise.
Yeah, noise is coming in. It's almost like a screeching sound, kind of.
How about now? All set?
No. Can you hear me, right? It's Boomer.
Yes,
Yeah.
we can hear
We can hear you.
Okay. Let me connect my headset.
I thought it was mine. Okay, cool.
Is my audio okay? Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you able to hear me?
Still having that squeaking sound. Nicholas, I think you are on mute now.
No, I don't know what you've changed, because previously it was working at the start. You come back to...
Better now?
No. At the start it was working. Try changing a different browser. So I try use a different browser, Boomer. It doesn't matter. Definitely you, because everyone's fine. I told her to use a different browser and rejoin, so I'm not sure why.
Worst come worst, she can try from mobile phone and
No,
carry on from there.
it was working previously. It's fine when we at the start.
Priyanka, just heard the last of your session. That was great.
Amazing.
I just presented it. I think somewhere last week somewhere.
It's
Of
fabulous.
course, that was with demos and everything. This was just a bit part of that, ensuring good infrastructure to build your AI applications, right?
100%.
Okay.
There's Buma again.
I'm back.
A little bit better. Yeah, a little bit better.
Okay. Right. That's cool. A technical glitch today. Right. Okay. So sorry for that.
Oh, you're fine.
Wise.
Right, let's jump into the session, right? So yeah, welcome everyone. Myself, I'm Dr. Buma. I'm MVP for AI and your moderator for today's exciting panel, AI for the Future, Innovation, Ethics, and Inclusion. I'm thrilled to be with two amazing women leaders in AI, Yuvika and Padmini. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
So yes, we are so excited to have you, and we are excited to hear more from you, from scaling AI in the enterprise to Gen AI, cybersecurity, sustainability, inclusion, a lot more. So let's get started.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are really excited to be here.
Yeah, likewise.
Okay. So, Yuvika, you have worked closely with scaling AI models in large organizations. So what do you think in real world terms, what's the biggest OR moment companies facing when, moving AI to production, and how do they get past it?
Yeah, that's a great question, Buma. So what's happening is, as you know, there is a lot of hype around AI, and everybody's trying to rush towards the gold rush. And putting together POCs is easy, right? You can use some data, put some models together, and have it, and everything looks good. Everybody's very happy. But when it comes to putting stuff into production and scaling it, I think that's where people actually start seeing challenges. And one of the things that I always like to take a look at, and I think it's so important, is especially with big organizations, is data. So I think when people are putting together POCs, they're not looking at the entire data landscape, right? And at big organizations, data happens to be in silos. There's a lot of fragmented data, and that's natural because every division or every department may be using something very different, right? So I think that's one piece. So data silos, and then the quality of the data. I don't know any organization that has ever said that, oh, my data is perfect. You'll go to some of the biggest organizations and you'll find the data is not perfect, right? So I think not accounting for those things. So that's number one. The second thing, I think we heard from Priyanka, I think the infrastructure is absolutely key, right? So having the right infrastructure in place, with that, having the ability to determine the cost and the compute, I think those are some things that people sometimes miss, right? They don't think about those things when they're, looking at their POCs and accounting for those things later on. But as Priyanka said, right, Azure has, these amazing tools. And when I was at the New York Microsoft AI tour, I think it was in January, I was just amazed with all the things that were being displayed on the screen, that how powerful the Azure platform is. You can actually assess your compute use, you can assess, the cost, you can optimize for those things and be able to plan for things better. I think that's the second piece. They all kind of go in hand. And the other thing that I feel doesn't get enough attention is like change management. A lot of people actually don't talk about it, right? That how do you ensure that there is proper communication that's happening? So when we talk about communication, it's not just telling the other person or the other team, hey, this is done, right? It's like actually having conversations and understanding that, okay, whether it is between the deployment team, like the engineers, or the ML ops or the IT, that what does the impact look like, right? They need to be well coordinated. They need to be talking to make sure that they're very well aligned, right? So that stakeholder management, that constant communication. And I think the last thing that Priyanka really hit on, and I'm such a big champion of it, is like governance, right? You want to make sure that you have continuous monitoring in place, right? Even when you're kind of, thinking about it during the cycle, but even afterwards, right? Because we know that these models are going to keep changing. It's not the model, but the way the output is going to change, right? Because the data is going to change, right? So I think those are some of the things that people actually don't think about and are essential ingredients for success.
Well said, Yuvika. Thanks. The quality of the data, infrastructure, those are all the primary things everybody should consider. Thanks for that. And over to you, Padmini. Like, we all love the magic of automation, right? So, but how do you think companies should balance that, with good human judgment? And also, we would like to hear from you. Is there a risk we are automating too much and too fast?
Absolutely. That's so critical. I mean, we all talk about human in the loop, and that is part of how we have to responsibly develop AI. So when we look at automation and human collaboration, we have to treat AI as a partner. We cannot give charge completely to AI. It's almost like a team member. You have to define roles and responsibilities. We absolutely have to know where we have to have guidelines on where the AI responsibility stops and the human takes over. So if you look at like repetitive tasks, yes, for sure, data entry, passport reset, whatever, those can be handed off to AI. But the ones that are more complex, high risk, that impact human beings, those should definitely have a human in there judging, understanding, reviewing, and all that. And hand in hand with that is also the whole idea of explainability. When you have an AI system, we have to make sure that it is explainable, because a team member, human, should be able to understand, why the AI made a decision that it made. That becomes critical. We also need to sort of create this, like what Yuvika and prior to that Priyanka said, this governance structure, which says when a human comes into the loop, and the AI hands over the judgment to the human, and we have to have these audit trails that sort of go back and look at where, what decision was made. So this is also, then at the end of it, we go into this whole monitoring the AI. So this is all through your system when you develop it, when you start developing it, when you are monitoring it, and I mean when you start designing it, when you're developing it, and finally when you deploy it and then monitor it. Every part of that should have some form of human element to make sure that the AI is not hallucinating. There are no racist remarks. All those kind of things. So we should have that collaboration between human and AI.
So having said that, have AI in our control, not to lose it and take over.
Yeah, absolutely. That handshake and that handoff should be seamless. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that. So, Yuvika, what do you think? Like everybody, as you said, like we have started talking about AI and more towards Gen AI, now into agentic AI. So whatever it is, like the data what we are handling is all about. When we talk about quality of data, we are having multiple type of data, right? Starting from text, images. We do have video during our process of handling with the AI. So what excites you the most about this multimodal future, especially as Priyanka mentioned about the security, and also we can consider within the Azure ecosystem. So anything you have seen recently that made you go, wow, what is this? Yes, this is right, in the form of multimodal future.
Yeah, so I'm definitely very excited about multimodal and how it's going to shape our lives and how we conduct business. So right now we are trying to move away from the text-based chatbot, and as you know, a lot of the models now have the capability to be able to take voice and actually perform actions. And then of course also models are processing videos and images. So I'm definitely very excited about where things are headed. So I'll give you one example. Just yesterday I was out with my son for dinner, and my car broke down, and I remember telling Padmani that I got home around 10:30, and the car actually gave me this really weird error. It said that not all operations are going to be working while engine is off, and I was actually driving that car for the first time. So my husband is traveling, it's his car, I never get in the car, and I had no idea what that message meant. So I knew that, okay, maybe it's telling me that the battery has gone dead. I quickly took a picture, I uploaded it into ChatGPT, and then I also uploaded it into Gemini, and most likely it told me that, hey, the battery has gone dead. So I was like, okay, this is great, right? So that's just one example, but I think we are headed to a place where we are going to be using AI to help us make better decisions. For example, in retail, you could have somebody uploading a picture or even showing live to a camera and saying that this is the kind of thing that I'm looking for, this is the kind of dress I'm looking for, and the AI is actually going to score through all the catalogs and find you where you can actually find that particular style. So that's number two. I'll give you another example, and it's very interesting, and I think it's very relevant for Microsoft. So I like to talk to my friends who are in different industries and companies to understand how they're using AI, what kind of challenges they're having. So Copilot is an amazing product. I've used it too, but we all know that the race is, everybody's racing. And my friend, she is in audit and compliance, and she said that, Copilot is great, but it has this gap where I'm not able to share the screen and the Copilot is not able to see what it's doing. And I wanted to be able to look at my screen and tell me that and take actions from that. So that was before Microsoft Copilot came out with the release. Just, I think it was yesterday, day before yesterday, where now it has the ability to actually see what you're showing on the screen, right? Because Gemini has that capability, Claude has that capability. So I think the future is very bright. I see a lot of use cases in healthcare where doctors, radiologists are just going to upload the image and they're going to be talking about the scans, and then the AI is actually going to, ingest that image and the text and actually going to be able to give output back. So I'm super excited about what multimodal models are going to change the way we operate and how we go about in our life.
Really a perfect example. Right, you had two different experience with AI, and that's really shows like how AI made you to feel wow.
Yeah.
You're traveling with us, and I'm so sorry for the incident happened today with yesterday with your car.
That's okay. It was a good experience, right? That, hey, you learn. It's like,
Yes,
okay,
that
good.
made you to experience about AI features, and it's fun. It's nice. Okay, nice. So, what do you, Padmini, like when we are talking about Gen AI? It's something a real concern, right? So, what is in your point of view, how organizations who are using Azure OpenAI make sure they are not unintentionally making things go worse?
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
Okay, so what do I mean to ask here is all, it's like a bias kind of question in Gen AI, right? It's a kind of real concern to us. So I mean to ask, in your point of view,
Yeah.
what do you think, like, how can organization using Azure OpenAI make sure that they are not going worse with any unintentional way?
Oh, yes. So one of the main things for that is there are a lot of misconceptions around, how AI is being used. So people think that, oh, it'll take away my job, it'll I will be it'll replace me. So organizations have to sort of have people understand, like understand that this is not going to happen. You have trained, upskill their employees with AI, and then help people understand that if the AI will not replace you, but people who know AI will probably replace you. There will not be a complete overhaul. AI will not completely overhaul your system. You will be able to AI is not like that silver bullet that will just come in and solve all your problems. So we need to methodically and in piecewise implement AI. It's not a one and done. It is we have to keep going back, keep revisiting the AI systems. And it's not just for like tech savvy people, that AI is so you have your no code, low code solutions. So that is something that organizations can implement and help people who are new to AI, slowly but gradually introduce AI to them. And like Yuvika said, data is destiny, but organizations have to make sure that you have good quality data. You cannot just throw a bunch of data at AI and expect it to work the way it is. So these are some of the measures that organizations take. And I don't know if that was the question you asked, but so I want to make sure I address.
Yeah. Thanks, Padmini. Yes, that's so true. people are thinking AI is going to take over our job. It's not actually true, as you said. AI people who know AI might take over our job if you're not getting upskilling ourselves.
Yeah.
That's well said. Well
Yeah.
said. And I will just like to hold you back with some follow-up thing on this, coming to the part of security. So we are hearing about deep fakes, fake content. So it's a mess out there, right? So what's one AI-driven strategy you think companies must have in place to defend themselves when it comes to fake content or deep fakes?
So it's interesting that we are in the situation of deep fakes and all that because of AI, and then we need AI to counter that. So it's almost like diamond cuts diamond kind of. We have AI that's causing all these deep fakes. So I there was one thing that I had come across something called like Microsoft had a few years back called video authenticators. So where it actually tells you, if that particular deep fake is AI generated content. So that is one thing that can be employed for detecting deepfake content. Then there is also there was a coalition of sort of like I don't know, it was called C2PA, if I remember right, of prominence and authority, where there is a marker, there is a for content that is trusted, that is with good with a good source, there is a marker where it says, it's a content credential marker. So you see it as an icon on it. So these are some of the ways that we can understand that, if you're if you to identify deep fakes. So if we employ these, we look out for these markers, we look out for these, and besides that, I think with AI systems in place, AI is able to see patterns much better than human beings. So if there's a new phishing attempt, it will be able to detect that better. Or you also can look at like behavior anomalies. If you find that this is not how this person generally talks or generally moves and behaves, AI is able to detect that and call it out. Or even so like we all know, your credit card, you travel, you use it outside, or you make a big payment, there is this alert comes to you. So we have all these mechanisms that we can employ to sort of call out these deep fakes, these anomalies in systems.
That's right. We need to instruct the model in a perfect way, like how we are expecting what it should do, what it shouldn't do. So training and instruction, yes. Thank you. Thanks for that. And on top of one another thing about cybersecurity, or just Yuvika, what do you think? Like cybersecurity isn't just a tech issue anymore, right? So it's just becoming a trust issue nowadays. So when you're deploying AI pipelines, what's the best way to make sure our models, whatever OpenAI models we are using, don't become a backdoor for threats?
Yeah, it's a good call out. And I think Priyanka was also, alluding to some really great points. So I think one of the things is, and I think Microsoft is a big proponent of like having this zero trust, model for your AI environments, where you have multi-factor authentication and ensuring that you have just-in-time access for dev and ops. I think even I use, when I'm logging into like, Microsoft stuff, it always asks, like for the MFA. And sometimes I find it very annoying, but I'm like, it's actually for a good reason. So I think that's one, only those people should have access. And then I think using virtual networks, and then also making sure that you're encrypting your data sets, especially like when they're transit. And I think Microsoft Azure as platform has various capabilities to support that. And then I think there is this term that's being used, and it's in practice, I think, using differential privacy and also leveraging synthetic data for training when possible to avoid like data leakage. And specifically, like for pipelines, and ensuring like they're secure before they go into production, having approval gates, right, that are there before you deploy things into production. And I think when I was getting on, I saw Priyanka was presenting a slide, right, that there are all these approvals, that needs to be secured before you actually push stuff into production. So I think those are important. And the other thing I think Padmini was talking about, having audit trails. So I believe that there are capabilities in Azure where you can actually log for every like model inference. You're basically logging that, and I think using Azure Monitor to basically be able to track that. So I think that audit trail becomes really important for compliance. So I think that, and also like making sure that you are using trusted containers to basically deploy your models and train your models. So I think those would be some things that I would recommend. I think the Azure stack is huge. Like you don't need to go anywhere. I feel like, if you're on Azure, you can leverage all these capabilities to make sure that, you're ensuring that your models are secure, your pipelines are secure, and you're getting like the right approvals, and you're monitoring stuff even once it's in production.
Thanks for that. So, with that, I would also like to hear from you both that since AI in the workforce, would like to hear about the future skills and diversity, right? So let's talk about future proofing along with it. So how should professionals, especially those not from tech background, should stay relevant in an AI-driven job market, Yuvika?
So I think the number one thing is people should start cultivating AI literacy as quickly as possible. I'll tell you this, awareness is very high, but based on what we see, literacy is still very low. So people truly do not understand what this technology can do. As Padmini was alluding, right, that AI is good at recognizing pattern, but it's not necessarily empathetic, right? So it only looks at data, it identifies patterns, it can make predictions, and it can generate content. And now you're going to have like this agentic AI, right, which is, the third piece. So I think having this thing that, okay, I need to learn to cultivate AI literacy fast. Believe it or not, you are going to need to learn how to work with AI. We are already headed towards this future where AI and humans will need to coexist. So the way we do our jobs is going to change. Yes, some jobs are going to get obsolete, but there is going to be new jobs that are going to be coming out. But the key is that people need to learn how to use this technology. You do not need to be a data scientist. You do not need to be a PhD. And I'll tell you this, that everybody doesn't know everything, right? Even the best researchers and PhDs, they do not know everything. So, but the key is people should start somewhere, right? So start somewhere, start using it, because, and Padmini and I love to talk about this learning by doing. The more you do, the more you learn, right? So I think that's number one. And the second thing is people say that, oh, AI is going to replace humans. I think AI is going to replace humans who are not using AI, right? That's the way I would like to put. But where we still excel as humans is the skills that we have, right? That human to human connection, right? The ability to exercise your critical reasoning skills. I think you need to make sure that you are keeping your critical reasoning skills sharp. You need to make sure that you're still keeping your creative skills sharp. So we are going to be living in a world where we are going to be orchestrating AI agents to do the work for us. So learning how to use the AI and telling what the AI should be doing, right? So think of AI as a tool that you're going to use to do your job or solve problems. So I think those would be some things, and never stop learning. Things are going to be changing and they're going to keep evolving. So be a continuous learner. They say that have the curiosity of a kid. So I would say those are some of the things that I would recommend for people, who are just kind of starting out.
keep us updated, upskill ourselves continuously. There's no end for educating ourselves. That's nice. Nice to hear. So Padmini, you both are a role model for many young women in tech, especially in AI. So what you would say to a young woman watching this, our discussion, right? Thinking AI seems cool, but can I really do this? What you would like to say to them? What should they focus on?
Um, am I cutting out? I'm sorry, it kept refreshing. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. So your question was, what would I say to a
Right.
young woman who wants to get into AI?
Yes, yes, who are not really very sure. They know what is AI. They can feel what is AI, the essence of AI, but they
Yeah,
don't really understand whether they could do that or not. So what you would like
yeah.
to,
So
yeah.
oh, I would say that, to every young woman watching this, that, you belong here and your voice matters. So yes, so the thing is, I mean, I would like to frame it in the education, experience, and exposure kind of framework. So I would tell everyone there that there are so many resources to educate yourself. So definitely use that. Make sure that you read up on news. You take the courses. Make sure you know what is going on in AI, and you make sure you access all of it. And from an experience perspective, like what Yuvika said, learning by doing. We go there, join a hackathon, do a project, join people who do these projects. So you want to have that hands-on skill, so make sure you do that. And then thirdly, exposure. I always say that, connect with people who are in the space, follow people who are in the space. There And especially women, like there are so many trailblazing women. Reach out to them, set up coffee chats. Maybe you'll be surprised how many people are willing to talk to you, willing to lead you and guide you in this field. Join communities, and here's a shameless plug for Asian women advancing AI. Yuvika and I have started that, and we have these like webinars and learning labs, and that. Join communities like this, because we keep hearing of women saying that it's feel like an imposter, like the imposter syndrome. And I feel like historically these spaces were not for women. So now, you're in here, you're not an imposter, you're an innovator. Let that space adjust around you, let the space now recognize you and know you. So I think you should come in with that. And I also, this one other thing I keep telling people, that when you join these sessions or webinars, turn on your camera, be seen, speak up, ask a question, be seen, be heard. So I think that becomes critical. And with the first time, yes, it may be a little nerve-wracking. You don't want to ask that question, but just show up. People will start recognizing you, and start paying attention. So I think it is critical. And wherever you are, start there. Start now. It's where. So I think that's critically important.
So those are all really, encouraging words. Turn up and be open to face the challenge. That is what matters.
Ask
Yes.
questions. Yeah, don't hesitate. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, as it's nothing like everybody knows everything.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Even, yeah.
like Yuvika just said, like, even your PhD is there. You always have
Please be
capacity
a
to
mark.
learn.
Only in PhD.
Dr. Bhuma. So
Because, like holding a PhD, it means that we should have some hands-on in whatever field we are. It doesn't mean like, though PhD has its own value, We should
Yes,
have
definitely.
hands-on in whatever we are focusing. So until unless we couldn't able to, excel in that particular thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have like this specialized knowledge,
Yeah,
in a
we should.
particular, yeah.
That's right. That's right. So thanks for your time. So now, like we are nearing the time, and so it's time for us to turn over to the audience side. So to bring some curiosity, and let's keep this dialogue going. Let's see how many of them are opening up and coming up, to just clarify something from both of you, inspiring women. Let me check in the comments. Do we have any questions here? And also, we are running out of time. So yeah, I will pass those questions to Yuvika and Badmani, both of you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not
So
able to see the questions. Are there any questions?
yeah, we will pass it. We will pass
Okay.
it back to
Yeah.
you
Sounds good.
later the conversation. But that we are already into a closing part, right? So that's a powerful conversation we have had today. That's really thank. And Yuvika, your point about needing alignment with the values, business goals, governance, as what Priyanka mentioned earlier, really stuck with me. It's a reminder that tech should always serve people, not the other way around.
Yes.
That your example about multimodal Gen AI and your real-time example, what you have faced in past 2 days, that oak flows gave us a glimpse into just how creative and scalable the future is. That's really helpful for us to get some insights. And over Bethany, your take on ensuring diverse data and human oversight to upskill ourselves, that's really fantastic. And your story about using AI for community level social impact was truly inspiring. That's thing. So too, thank you so much for your time. And here, to everyone watching our discussion, right? Thank you for being a part of this. We hope you're walking away with fresh ideas and motivate yourself. Keep tapping on your shoulders yourself, and open up, as our panelists, both Padmini and Yuvika, said. Keep us focused and make ourselves updated in all the things. Spark to go, build something meaningful. That's all about our discussion. Thank you for your time, Yuvika and Padmini.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having us. And if
No
anybody
worries.
ever has any questions, please feel free to reach out to Padmini and myself. We are both of us are available on LinkedIn. And as Padmini said, we have this amazing community. So please look us up and, feel free to join.
Okay.
Thanks,
Brilliant.
Uma.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello,
Okay.
hello. Good
So
morning.
we have the next session
Hello.
on build your own copilot with pretty own agent with semantic kernel with Handeep Haskett and Simant Hanchin. Sorry, I pronounced it wrong.
No problem. All right. So
We have
just
two
wanted to
rock
check.
stars here.
All right. Thank you for having us. Quickly, just wanted to
No.
check. You can hear me okay? See me? See my
Yeah.
screen as well?
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
And we have roughly 45 minutes for this session, correct?
Yeah. Yes, Nanda.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
About. All right. Okay. So should we get started, or how is it? Like.
Yeah, get ready to roll up yourselves and imagine what we can all build from the semantic kernel.
All right. All right. Okay. So. Hello everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today at this Global AI Bootcamp, and thank you to all the organizers for organizing such an event as well as inviting us. So with that, we are going to look into the session of how we can build our own agents with semantic kernel. So basically, semantic kernel is quite a lightweight open source development kit, which allows you as a developer to easily build your AI agents and integrate latest AI models which are available into your applications, whether it is in C Sharp, Python, Java code base, or anything else. Okay, so we are going to see like what is semantic kernel, how we'll be able to use that inside of our applications. All right, so quick introduction. Myself, Nandeep Nasan. I'm from Pune, India. I'm Microsoft MVP as well as Microsoft Certified Trainer, author of these three books, including SharePoint Framework, SharePoint Hybrid, and Viva Connections. At the same time, here are a few of my social media handles to get in touch with me, including Twitter, LinkedIn, my blogs, YouTube. So, if in case you want to have any discussion further, please give us a shout or give me a shout, and then we will take that ahead. And with me today is Smita.
Hello, all. Myself Smita Nasan. I'm from Pune, India. I'm having total 16 plus years of experience. I'm working as an architect. I'm a Microsoft MVP. I'm author of these two books, and these are some of my social handlers by which you can get in touch with me.
All right, so let's get on to the agenda. So this is the agenda that we are going to go into for this session. We will have a quick introduction to semantic kernel. What is meant by that? We will understand the Copilot stack because understanding a Copilot stack is pretty much important when we are trying to build our own agents. And then again, we will see how using semantic kernel we can do the AI development extensibility. We are also going to look into the other aspects of semantic kernel, for example, AI plugins, memory, and all of these building blocks of semantic kernel. And then we are also going to look into the demos. And then we do have a reference of one of the demo which is available from Microsoft onto the GitHub about building this booking solution with semantic kernel. All right. So with that, firstly, let's get ourselves familiar with what is semantic kernel. Okay.
So, Semantic Kernel is an open source SDK that lets you easily build agents that can call your existing code. So, as a highly extensible SDK, you can use the semantic kernel with the models from the OpenAI, Azure OpenAI, Hugging Face, and many more. So, by combining your existing C Sharp, Python, as well as the Java code with these models, you can build agents that answer the questions and automate the process. So, to help the developers build their own Copilot experiences on top of AI plugins, Microsoft have released Semantic Kernel, which is a lightweight open source SDK that allows you to orchestrate these plugins, that is your existing code, with AI. So with semantic kernel, you can leverage the same AI orchestration patterns that powers the Microsoft Copilot in your own apps. So we have already talked about this exactly about the semantic kernel, which is a lightweight open source orchestration SDK by Microsoft. It enables the developers to combine the AI prompts like those you would use with OpenAI. So with some additional code written in C Sharp or Python. So this means you can easily create the intelligent applications that makes the logic and AI driven reasoning. So, this is your hub for integrating AI into your apps. So, think of semantic kernel as a glue between the AI models and your regular application logic. So, why semantic kernel? First one for the open source and the trustworthy. So, it's open source, so it's transparent as well as community driven. And since it's backend by Microsoft, you can trust it for the enterprise grade use. Second one, it's reliable and performant. So Microsoft has optimized it to be fast and production ready, making it suitable for the real world application. So the third one is for the latest AI innovations. So you get the access to the cutting edge AI advancements. So from prompt engineering to agnetic patterns. So thanks to this continuous updates aligned with the Microsoft AI platform, then the enterprise ready. So finally, because it's a part of Microsoft ecosystem, it fits perfectly into your enterprise environment, which is connecting easily with Microsoft 365, Azure, and your organization's internal data and workflows. So, why to use an SDK like a semantic kernel? So, in today's AI models can easily generate the messages and images for user. So, why this helpful? when building a simple chat app, it is not enough to build a fully automated AI agents that can automate the business processes and empower users to achieve the more things. So to do so, you would need a framework that can take the responses from this model and use them to call the existing code to actually do some productive work. So with that, let's go ahead and check for this copilot stack. So to actually do something productive, we need orchestration to turn the model outputs into these real actions. So here is a copilot stack. So which explains the layer involved in building and operating the AI powered copilots or the intelligent agents. So let's go through it layer by layer. So from the bottom, that is the infrastructure, to the top, which is the user facing functionality. And then let's understand how it actually connects. So the bottom layer, the foundation. So these are the core technical components that everything else is built on. So first one is the AI infrastructure. So this is the hardware and the cloud-based computer power that enables the AI models to be trained and run. It includes the GPUs, data centers, storage, as well as the networking provided by the platforms like Azure, AWS, and many more. So this layer makes sure there is enough power, scalability, as well as the reliability for the AI workloads. So the second one from the bottom layer is the foundation models. So these are the large pre-trained AI models like a ChatGPT and many more. So they are trained on the massive amounts of data and can understand the language, reason, summarize, generate text, and many more things. So these models are not tied to any one task. So they are general purpose and can be adapted to many use cases. Let's go now to the, we have already covered this bottom layer. Let's go to the middle layer, which is intelligence and the coordination. So for that, let's discuss for this AI orchestration. So this is the brain that connects the foundation models to the real world task. So it interprets the user's intent, call the right models, chain tool, and executes the logic. So this layer can call the plugins or APIs, can manage the memory or state, decide which models to use for the different subtasks. So semantic kernel, LangChain, and the prompt flow are the example of these orchestration frameworks. So it's responsible for making the AI responses useful for integrating them with the business logic as well as for the existing system. Now we have covered this bottom, middle. Let's go to the top layer of this, that is the user facing functionality. So the functionality and the customization. So for the Copilot, these are the user-facing AI assistants like a Microsoft 365 Copilot, GitHub Copilots, and many more are there. So they interact with the users in a natural language and use the orchestration layer underneath to complete this task. So they are often domain specific, for example, writing a document, summarizing the email, writing for any of the code. So for the plugin extensibility, this layers allows you to extend Copilot's capabilities by plugging in external tools, APIs, or as well as the services. So let's say for example, you can plug in a SharePoint connector, a company's internal HR system, a weather API. So the plugin allows the co-pilots to go beyond the language and actually perform the action in the real world. So this arrows in the stacks, that is up and down communication, the bidirectional arrows indicates that these layers communicate with each other. For example, a user prompt goes from the copilot towards the AI orchestration, which may call a foundation model and then compact with a generated response. The orchestration layer may also call these plugins or the tools during this process to fetch the real data or perform an action. So, little bit of summary over here to build fully automated AI agents. All this needs to layers needs to work together. So, let's quickly discuss for this layer and their purposes. So, AI infrastructure, raw compute, and the hosting, AI models, core language or the vision models, then the AI orchestration to connect the models to the logic and the tools, co-pilots which are friendly helpful interfaces for the users, and the plugin extensibility, it's lets the co-pilot interact with the external system. So with that, now let's move ahead and check for the semantic kernel, how it makes the AI development extensible. So semantic kernel is an open source SDK developed by the Microsoft to help the developers to build the AI powered agents that can use the language models, memory, logics, and the tools or the plugins to accomplish the real world task. So think of it as the orchestrator that brings together the language model, let's say for example GPT-4, Azure OpenAI, the external tool and services via the plugins, the memory for the context as well as for the history and your existing business logic, that is the code or the APIs. So this diagram explains, let's again go from this, now this time we will go from the top to bottom. So the models and the memory, that is the brain. So this is where the language models like LLMs like Open AI GPT, Azure Open AI, Hugging Faces and many more. And the memory stores like vector databases or the local storage, the live. And this enables understanding and the generation of the human like language, the long term memory of the past interactions or the context, and in the description it is a simulated brain of your AI agents. The second one is the connectors. So the connectors are the interface layer between the semantic kernel and the external AI services, that is the model or the memory storage. So they abstract away the specific implementation. Let's say, for example, OpenAI versus Azure OpenAI. So you can swap the AI providers without changing your entire code base. So this is what gives you the freedom from the switch providers, like from the OpenAI to Hugging Face. So semantic third one is the semantic kernel core. So this is the heart of the architect over here. So it orchestrates how the AI models, memory and plugins work together. So it decides which model to call, what plugins or the tools to trigger, how memory is read or updated. So it is what let you to compose your AI agent behavior using this simple logic. So the fourth one over here is the plugins. So these are the tools your AI agents uses to interact with your apps or services. So let's say for example a plugin to read from a SharePoint, create the calendar event, send emails or make a database calls. In the analogy, they are the arms and the hands of your AI app enabling the real world actions. Now we are going to discuss about this fifth one, that is the triggers and the actions. So this is where the external events can trigger the AI workflows and where AI can take the actions in response. So think of a Power Automate flow kicking off a semantic kernel function, a webhook triggering a custom semantic kernel agent. So this makes the semantic kernel reactive and able to execute all the workflows. So how it call comes together. So imagine if you want an AI agent that can read the emails and automatically book the meetings. So some of the components and more role we are going to discuss about over here. The first one is the model. So let's say it's understand the email content, for example, extract the intent and the date and time. Then the connector. So let the semantic kernel work with Azure OpenAI or another model provided. Then the semantic kernel, which is the orchestrate, the understanding, memory, as well as the plugin calls. Then we have a plugins which schedule the meeting using a Microsoft Graph API. Then the triggers comes to the action. So event listener for the new emails or the team messages. So this way how you can do that. So why this semantic kernel is a more powerful for the developers? So when it's come to this it, so it's extensible. So use your existing code base by wrapping it into the plugins. It is a flexible, swap out AI models and memory stores without rewriting any logic. It is a composable, so use any part, model abstraction, plugins, or the memory independently or together as well. It supports for this cross provider, so no vendor locking. Let's say, for example, run this AI plugins with the Hugging Face models. It is a future ready, so it's easily adopt the newer models or the tools by just adapting the connectors. So there over here there is a final analogy. I would like to say the AI agent is equal to brain plus memory plus hands plus orchestration. So let's discuss one by one in a little bit how it the layer, how it acts and how it enables. So summary, the models and the memory which acts, that layer is acts as a brain which enables the thinking and the remembering. The second layer is the plugins, which act as a hands and which enables the acting on the world. Third layer is of connectors, which acts as a nerves and which enables you to connecting to the brain to memory and senses. The fourth layer is a semantic kernel, which acts as a orchestrator, which enables you to coordinate everything. And the last layer, that is the trigger or the action, which acts like events and which enables the external signals to start or stop the actions. So with that, let's go ahead and check a demo how we can do this building a simple semantic kernel application.
All right, so now that we are going to look into a demo, like we know the theory of it, what is semantic kernel, what are the major components of it. But now that let us go into the demo and see how we'll be able to build our applications using semantic kernel. Okay, so I'm going to start with very simple one. Again, as we mentioned, you will be able to use it in any of your application, whether it is .NET, whether it is Python, or even Java code base. You can use it anywhere. But I'm just going to demonstrate that with .NET. So this is the console project that I have created. Let me go to the project and let me show you the packages that I have installed. So let me go to the manage NuGet packages, and here you can see that I have installed two packages. First thing is obviously Microsoft semantic kernel, because semantic kernel uh, is the thing that we are going to use here. And then secondly, we are going to use this Microsoft extension configuration JSON. It is nothing but just to read the JSON and get the values. So again, why we need JSON is because we are going to store everything into the JSON. So obviously we are going to use this semantic kernel against my Azure OpenAI. I know that this is not a good way to store your Open API keys. It is entirely open, but don't worry, I'm going to change it after this session. So this is my endpoint, the Azure Open AI endpoint. Again, we have got this Azure Open AI key, and then this is the deployment model that I have got. Let me, for to show you that, quickly go into the Azure AI Foundry. So I do have my Azure Open AI um, service running, and then this is my Azure AI Foundry. So what I did previously or right now is that just I have created one new deployment of GPT 4.0. So for example, if I go into the deployments, from here I can show it to you that this is my deployment GPT-4o. This is the model which I'm going to use for my semantic kernel. And then from here you can see that we will be able to get this endpoint. We are going to use this name as GPT-4o, and then to get your key, you can just click here this copy button, and then you should be able to get this key. Okay, I know that I already have shown it to you as a plain text, which I'm going to change, but these are the only three things that we will need as a part of our configuration, like the name of the deployment model, Azure OpenAI endpoint, and then Azure OpenAI key. And using these three things, we should be able to access that model and use it in our application. Now that let us go into our main program file. So those were the two NuGet packages that we have used, and we are just using those two NuGet packages. First thing is to read the configuration from this application JSON file, and second one is to use the semantic kernel. In the second line, we are just reading everything from that JSON configuration of these application settings, so that we'll be able to use them in our application. Whenever we will start building the application, we just need to use this command called as kernel.createBuilder, which will create a semantic kernel for you to use. Now that once that semantic kernel instance is ready to be used in our application, I can simply go ahead and create a plugin to call this Azure OpenAI. So on that builder that we have created, I'm just adding this Azure OpenAI chat completion. So again, for example, if I go back here, you can see that I'm able to use this GPT-4o into my chat playground. So it is similar kind of a thing that you can visualize, uh, which is being done programmatically. So here I'm again passing on those three things which we have configured from our application settings: the deployment model, the Azure OpenAI endpoint, and then the OpenAI key. That's it. And then we are just going to create it for our kernel. So this is our kernel which is ready now to be used, and simply I'm just calling the prompt or making a prompt here to tell like say like tell me a joke on cat. That's it, and then it is going to give us a reply. So for example, if I just give this same prompt in my chat application, it is going to give me the result. So let's say for example, if I go here, give the prompt, it is going to respond me back similar thing what we are going to do, but from the semantic kernel. Okay, so this is the very simplest thing that we are going to do. All right, so here you can see that we do have this joke being told by the GPT-4o model. Let us see how this thing works programmatically from the semantic kernel. So probably I will just put a debug point here so that it will wait for us. Even we do have console.read there. So what it is going to do is, again, it is going to make a call to my GPT-4o using the settings that we have got, and then it is going to give us the response that we have got from that GPT-4o model, but just using the semantic kernel. So this is the very basic implementation that we have got. So here you can see that this is the joke that GPT-4o told us, like why did the cat sit on a computer? Because it wanted to keep an eye on mouse. Okay, funny thing. All right, so this is the very simplest example like how we will be able to use semantic kernel in our applications. So now that, for example, if you already have built any applications, you can simply use this piece of code, and then you will be able to integrate semantic kernel into your applications. So this was very basic implementation that we have got, but now that let us go bit deeper, like how we will be able to use maybe a chat history. Okay, so chat history, what is mean by that is like now that for example, whenever we are having a conversation with some person or maybe any of the application, it can make a history of the chat, like what was my previous responses, and again based on my previous responses it can suggest me the next responses. So let's say for example, whenever you start a discussion with chat GPT, so it maintains the chat history so that it can go back to the chat history and then again give you the responses. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy paste some code here, but I'm going to explain that code to you. And this is just an example like how we will be able to use the chat history. Okay, so let me just go ahead and paste that code here. All right, and then we will go over this code. Same thing, until this point everything is the same, that we are reading everything from this app settings, and then we are creating our semantic kernel. Okay, so we have our semantic kernel ready. Now that what we are introducing here is chat history. Okay, so we have enabled this chat history service or chat service here, which will help us to maintain the history. Now that we are adding some kind of a system message, for example, if you want to get it visualized onto your Azure AI Foundry. So this is a place where probably we can give some kind of an instructions, set the context. Same thing we are doing from the programmatic way using semantic kernel, like we are just adding the system message. And then this system message is like you are a friendly hotel food ordering assistant, and this is the menu for today. Okay, so this is the agent that we are going to use. And then again, this semantic kernel agent will greet the users, show the menu when it is requested, and then it can confirm the order when it is placed by the user. Okay, so this is the only thing which this kernel is going to do, and it is going to maintain the entire history. Okay, so here you can see that we are accepting the input from the user. So the user probably start by saying hello, or maybe start by putting some kind of an order, or it can ask for what you have me to offer today and everything. So it can do that. And then again, we are just going to add that user input into the chat history, so that whenever next time semantic kernel will run, it is going to have a reference of that chat history. And again, by looking at that chat history, it is going to uh, make that conversation ahead and do the conversation with that user. So let me just run that and show it to me. Okay, so I will just say hello, and then let us see how that responds. So here it says like, hello, welcome to our hotel food ordering service. How can I assist today? If you would like to see the um, today's menu, let me know. So we will just say like, show me today's menu. Okay, so what it is going to do is it has got everything from this message, system message, that this is the menu that we have got, and then it will ask like, let me know what you would like to order. So by looking at this menu, probably let's say I want to go for veg biryani, which is one of the favorite Indian cuisine. So let me just make that order. Okay, so now that it has set that into the chat history, so the bot says, okay, it is a great choice. One veg biryani coming right up. Could you please confirm if you would like to add anything else to your order? So if in case I want to add something, probably I can add. So let's say, for example, I want to add a Sprite. I can go ahead and maybe say, okay, add a Sprite. So now that you can see that by looking at the conversation history that we have maintained, the bot is saying like, got it, your order so far is veg biryani and then Sprite. Okay, and then it says like, would you like to add anything else? Probably I'm not that foodie, so I'm done with that. So I will say like, okay, I confirm, that's it, I don't want to move ahead, I don't want to eat anything more, I'm done for today. So now that it will confirm my order. So here it is saying that thank you for confirming your order, and this is my order: one veg biryani, one Sprite, and that's it. So it will start preparing. um, it is saying like, enjoy your meal, and for example, if you still need anything, do let me know. Okay, so this is a simplistic example, but the catch here is like, it is maintaining the history. Okay, so here you can see that it is maintaining the history, like what I have ordered, and then again it can give me some kind of an suggestions, or at least keep tracking of that. Right now it is being just a history kind of a thing, but what about adding a memory to this? Okay, so because right now we are just adding everything into the history, but uh, again, the another thing which is costly about the history is like, that history gets appended to each of the prompt that we make further, and which is maybe bit of costly whenever we are running the huge applications. So then what about adding some kind of a memory to this, so that it will have some memory, and then we'll be able to use this memory to store the responses. Okay, so again, for that I'm just going to copy paste a code, but I will go through that code with you. Okay, again, so far this is the same code that we have seen. We do have the chat history, but now that it is a bit different story. So here we have got like, you are a helpful assistant, and then when user mentions about their name, city, or favorite color, I want it to remember. Okay, so now that I'm adding some memory here, and then again, if they later ask about it, recall what they told you. Okay, so that is a simple thing. We are creating a memory here in the form of dictionary, so that we'll be able to store like what was the name, city, favorite color, and then store it into the dictionary kind of a thing. While the conversation is continuing, we do have this while loop here, and then again, what we are going to do is we are going to um, ask user by giving some kind of an inputs, some kind of an prompts, and for example, if that prompt contains my name is, uh, we are going to add that into our chat history, and then again it is going to go into the memory as well. So in the memory, we're going to add that like this is the name of the user which he has said or she has said. Then again, where do they live, what is their favorite color. So for example, something of that sort happens, we are going to store everything into the memory. Okay, and then for example, whenever it will ask about where do I live or what is my name and everything, we're going to get back everything from the memory and give it back to the user. Okay, so this is the application that we are going to build now. We are just adding some kind of a memory here. Okay, so now that it is asking me for some kind of a prompt, I will say like my name is Nandadeep. So okay, it says that nice to meet and everything. I will just say like I live in Pune. So again, it is saying like thank you for giving that information, and probably I will say my favorite color is blue. Okay, so and now that it has built some kind of a memory for me, like what is my name, where I live, and what is my favorite color. So for example, now if I ask like what is my name, by looking at that memory, it should give us the response. Okay, so it is saying like you earlier said that my name is Nandadeep. Okay, so it is a very basic example, but for example, if you want to build a memory inside of this, you will be able to do that. Okay, so the beauty of using semantic kernel is with memory, because all of the other conversation that we have with our AI models, probably they are stateless. But for example, whenever you are using semantic kernel, it is a beauty of semantic kernel that you can use memory here as well. All right, so we have seen like how we'll be able to use the chat history, how we are able to use the memory. Now that the other thing that we have discussed during theory is about plugins. Okay, so plugin is again another thing, like whenever you want to, or whenever semantic kernel thinks like it has to go ahead invoke any of the plugins, it can do that. So what about adding some kind of a plugin here? So what we are going to do now is that we are going to add new class here, something called as plugin. Okay, let it load. So I'm going to call it as a plugin. Okay, so let us call it as a utility plugin. Okay, so this is the plugin that we have, and again we are going to keep it pretty much simple. We are just going to create it as a public class so that we'll be able to access it. And then again, this is the simplest plugin, like to get the time, which will give us the current time, and then again a plugin to say hello when any of the name is being passed to it. So for example, if you pass your name, it will just say hello to you. But in the real world applications, you can call the external APIs, external services, so that you will be able to make use of those. So for example, if you want to get the weather, or for example, if you want to get certain values from any of your database or anything else, you will be able to do that. All right, so now that we want to use this plugin inside of our code, so what we are going to do is that again I'm going to paste some different code here, but I'm going to explain that to you. Until this point, it is still the same thing, that we are reading everything, all the configurations from our application JSON, and building an instance of our kernel. Now that this is a place where we are making our semantic kernel aware of the plugins that we have got. So here we have got the kernel plugin factory dot create one from the object, and we are giving him a reference of this utility plugin that we had created, call it as a utility plugin, and then that's it. So now our semantic kernel is aware of a utility plugin, and then whenever it needed, it can go ahead and call that plugin. So right now what I'm doing here is like I'm simply calling those plugins from here itself, but when needed, even you will be able to invoke that. So this is a pretty much simplest example. Like let me just run, and then here you can see that it has given me the time, by looking at that plugin, as well as it has given me a hello. Okay, so this is the plugin that it has used, but in the real world scenarios, you will be able to do more better things. Okay, so now that we are going to look into few other things quickly, and then we're going to go into one of the demo which shows like in real world applications how you will be able to do the booking kind of and things. So but before that, let us understand few of the basics.
What are these AI plugins? So the AI plugins are the reusable sets of the functions or the skills that can be used with the LLMs to extend their capabilities. So this can include the API calls. So let's say, for example, get a weather, search a knowledge base, then the math or calendar skills, the business function, for example, send email, query the data. So the plugins are what the LLMs call to execute the task beyond this plain text reasoning. So over here in the image breakdown, this AI plugins in a semantic kernel. So from the left side, the consumers of the AI plugins, which are the ChatGPT, Microsoft 365 Copilot, Bing, and the middle section for this AI plugins. So these are the actual components that define the specific functionality like retrieving email, updating the calendars, and many more things. And on the right hand side, we have a semantic kernel over here, and your application. So your app uses the semantic kernel to connect with this Azure OpenAI. OpenAI use the AI plugins combined with them the logic, and the semantic kernel acts as the AI orchestration layer that bring it together. So over here, little bit of flow summary, that is the AI consumers wants to perform a task. They use a semantic kernel which orchestrates the prompt flow, external system calls, AI plugin expose the specific capabilities. The LLM interacts with these plugins to complete the user's intent. So with that, we can have one real world example also. Imagine a meeting summarizer. So you can ask your M365 Copilot to summarize the my last three meetings and email the key points to my manager. And the semantic kernel, what is do is uses the plugin to access the meeting transcript, Outlook Teams, another plugin to summarize the calls, this OpenAI model, another to send an email, which is a Graph API. And this orchestration is done by the semantic kernel, but the skills plugins do the actual work. With that, let's go ahead with the demo.
All right, so this is another demo which shows like how the booking applications can be created with semantic kernel, and this is available onto the Microsoft GitHub repo as well. You will be able to see it from here. All right, so let me quickly open up the development environment. Let me close this down. So what we're going to do is that we're going to work with the booking app. So booking app is one of the app which is available inside of Microsoft 365, and then there you can do the bookings. So what we are going to do is that since we want to interact with that booking service, we are going to have one application registration done into Microsoft Entra ID or Azure AD. So this is the app registration that we have got, and then I can go into the certificates and secret to get this value of the secret to get myself authenticated to this Azure AD. And then we do have few of the API permissions that we need. So here we do have basic permissions that we need to read and writing the bookings, as well as some delegated permissions so that we'll be able to get the sign in users as well as maintain the data across the devices. Okay, so these are the only application as well as the delegated permissions that we need. Now that I'm just going to run through this application first, and then I will go through the working of it or go through the code of it. But let me just show it to you how this particular application work. Okay, so this is again nothing but a probably a restaurant booking kind of an application that you can think of, which is going to do the big booking for us into the Microsoft booking app. So what I'm going to do is like I will ask this particular semantic kernel to book a restaurant for me. So it can go ahead and it can ask like what is the name of your what is the name of the restaurant where you want to book the seats, date and time of the reservation, number of people, full name, email address, and phone number. So this is the thing that which I'm going to do. Like I will ask like I would like to book a table at the restaurant called as French Laundry on 5th of April. That means today at 7 p.m. for 4 people. My name is John Doe. Email address is this, and this is my phone number. Okay, so uh, now that okay, so okay, let me just go ahead and say yes so that it can confirm my booking. Okay, so now that it should have confirmed my booking, and once it confirms the booking, what I can do is I can ask it to list all of the bookings. Okay, so now that it is saying like the table at French Laundry has been successfully booked. Uh, so what I can do is I can ask other question, list my current bookings. So what it should do is again, it should using that application registration, it should go to the um, go to the bookings app that I have got, and then from there it should list out all of the bookings. So from here you can see that the first entry that we have got, which is the one that got created just now. Now that, for example, if I want to cancel my booking, I can do that from here as well. So I can just say cancel my booking, and then that's it. So it just need few things like the date and time of the reservation, or the party name or the party size. I can give any of that, and it can help me cancel my booking. All right, so quickly let's go through this code. Again, we do have the application configurations. For example, a couple of things that we need here. First thing is the app registration information. We do need the Azure OpenAI configurations, and we need the booking services. Okay, so these are the things that we need. This is the model which just represent that appointment. For example, the name of the restaurant, number of people, reservation ID, party size, and all the things. This is the main thing that we have got, the plugin. So this is a plugin which we have created right now for performing the bookings. So here we have got various methods. For example, first one is to book the table, and by looking at the description, it has firstly asked me like the name of the person and everything. So everything is coming from this description. Okay, in the code we have not hard coded anywhere like these are the things that it should ask for. Once it gets all the information, what it does is it uses that Azure AD app registration to create a request body, make a post call again back to the booking application to create an application form or create a reservation for me. Okay, so this is the entire code for that, a post call to get that booking done. For example, now that, for example, if you want to list all of the bookings, again we are using the graph API, and again we are going through all of the bookings that we did and listing out to the users. When we want to cancel the booking, at least any of the parameter we need, for example the appointment ID, name of the restaurant, or anything else, by making that, we go into the booking application, we get to that business ID of that booking, and then we delete that particular entry. Okay, so that's it. So this is the basic thing what happens. Now that, let us come back to the semantic kernel. What is the role semantic kernel has got to play here? So here you can see that again it is the same thing that we have been doing so far. We are reading everything from our configuration file. We are building the graph client service, and this is a place where we are making our semantic kernel aware of the plugin. So this is the code, the highlighted one, which makes our semantic kernel aware of that plugin. So whenever needed, it can go ahead, call that plugin, and then do the things. So for example, here if you see like here we do have a conversation started with our users, and wherever it needs, it goes ahead, locate that plugin to either book the restaurant, list out the record, list out all of the bookings, or even cancel the booking. Okay, so here we do not have anything hard coded. Like for example, when user says book, we want this particular plugin to be called. So it is entirely depending on to the semantic kernel. It decides which plugin to call at which time, and then do the trick. All right, so that was a quick demo, but I will put this link into the chat window for you to explore this solution, which is available onto the Microsoft repository. So please go ahead and explore this, a fantastic solution which will give you what kind of an capabilities semantic kernel has got. All right, so with that, I think we are just on time, or maybe just ahead of the time. So once again, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to present this session. Hopefully we were able to showcase you few of the points that could help you getting started your journey with semantic kernel. So once again, thank you everyone, and see you soon, and thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we got no question at the moment. We will let you know if we got any questions with semantic kernel.
Sure, Miss. Again, if
I
in case you
may,
have got any questions in the future, please get in touch
so
with us on
I
LinkedIn
may,
or
I,
Twitter,
I
and
may
we
have,
can work with it.
so I may have one. So, what some of the use case can you use semantic kernel in production? Like, is it just for demo purposes?
No, we can use it in the real world as well. So this was the booking example that I had shown, which does the actual booking into the Microsoft Booking app. So this is one of the application
Okay.
or one of the use case that we can use semantic kernel. Even
Yeah.
there are many whenever we want to make a call to any of the plugin, get the work done. So it can be done
Yeah.
via that.
Okay. Brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
So let's bring our other speaker on. The other speaker is Bianca. Let me just remove this. Sorry. Do this one. Yeah. So Bianca is talking about unlocking document insights with Azure AI.
Thank you for having
Hello.
me, everyone.
Yeah. Hello, Kansha. Hi.
How are we
Yeah.
doing? Lovely to see you all again.
Thank you. You're all doing
So
good. And how about you? And sorry for, bringing you here in middle of your night.
No,
it's
in fairness, I'm in London, so it's actually
yeah.
a lovely
Oh,
day
that's
here
nice.
today.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it
Nice
was
to match your
midnight.
background. Okay, that's nice.
So it's worked
And
out really well, I think, in terms of timing for anyway. But yeah, it's a lovely day outside. But I'm really, really excited to be meeting everyone here from Charlotte. So yeah, tell me all about how today's been going.
it's good. A little technical issue, but it's all good. Oh dear.
I mean, there's no proper tech event without that, so I think we're doing really well.
Yeah. So let me share your screen. So that's fine. Okay, so the floor is yours. Let me just.
Perfect. Well, thank you for having me on. As Nicholas said, my name is Akansha Malik. I am a data and AI consultant, and we're going to be talking a lot about unlocking some document intelligence with Azure AI. So diving into some slide decks, the kind of first thing I'll usually do is introduce myself. So I'm usually based out of Melbourne, Australia, but I am Irish, as you can see by that flamboyantly Irish photo of me on the screen at the moment. So I'm actually at home at the moment in Europe. So it's been lovely coming back and being able to see everyone. But it also potentially means my accent has gotten a bit stronger. So if I am talking too fast or it's a little bit hard to understand, please just pop it into the chat. But let's dive in and kind of get going onto today's agenda. So we've only got half an hour with us today. So we're going to be going through a pretty lightning pace, talking through essentially what is Azure AI, and then where exactly does document intelligence fit into that environment overall? And how do we go about building some solutions within that space? What do those solutions look like? And how you could get started within that over the next little bit, if this is potentially a good fit for you as a solution. So Azure AI, I'm sure everyone is kind of getting used to these terminologies. If you've used Azure before, you'll see a lot of AI products and use cases coming through on a daily basis and updates that are being pushed through onto the platform. It is becoming more and more day in, day out that we're seeing a whole new update coming in. So it's really fascinating, but it does kind of cater to a whole different level, variations of levels of experience within it. So you can go from somewhere being a complete IT pro or pro code person who really enjoys kind of getting in touch with the coding aspect of it, and they just want to go into the Azure environment, use some machines to be able to power up their solutions and really go in and just create their own bespoke custom solutions. But it also really caters to the opposite end of that, where there might be IT pros or there might be business intelligence or just business people who know that their data has a bit more intelligence and there can be more intelligence found in it. And it caters to those people with different products and service lines like automated ML and Azure AI Foundry that's come out to really cater to those people where you don't need to have a code environment first. It's a low code aspect to be able to go in and play with the intelligence abilities of Azure AI and leverage them as you need. So very end-to-end overall kind of a promise that Azure AI is making, that, hey, we're really fit for all use cases and every person with different skill sets. So within that, where exactly does all of these different things sit? So just to give you a quick overview, I'm sure this slide you've seen a whole bunch of times. This is their classic marketing slide, but it does capture the different aspects of Azure AI very well. So from all the way through like language solutions, translation, speech, vision, so doing OCR and identifying things in videos, to leveraging that OpenAI aspect, so Azure OpenAI partnership, and then moving in towards more search capabilities, so having a database that you can really quickly enable AI search, so enriched search, where you might have PDFs of documents and you can search through the content within that, having added an AI capability on top of it, all the way through to Azure Machine Learning and building in things like content safety and responsible AI. What I'm going to pull out here is our Azure AI Document Intelligence. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So with that, what comes in really, really handy for us is this whole aspect of leveraging all these different kind of bullet points of services that are available to us, mixing and matching to create a solution that is the best fit for us. So when we're talking about document intelligence, what does this mean? So I'm sure we've seen businesses or that have the kind of issue of, hey, we're getting similar documents in every single day, every single week, and it is someone's job to process that manually. So to be able to extract what invoice number is it, what product order number it is, how much the amount is, take all of that details and push it over into a database somewhere to do that data entry. So it is a fairly manual process that exists in almost every business out there at the moment. And it is really, really important to be able to make sure that data entry is done accurately and correctly. And so those are really important data document points. So document intelligence basically offers us a way of automating that process. So that whole data manual entry piece, all of those data points can be extracted from any different source of data and then actually stored in the appropriate places as defined by you to really help cater to that automation piece and really smoothing out. And the people who are sitting having to do that labor and manual labor piece of data entry, they can then be reskilled into doing much more applicable work to really help leverage and kind of quicken up the piece around data, that whole leveraging of that intelligence. So some of these use cases, we kind of just talked through them, but when you've got perhaps, let's say, product ID porters coming in or invoices coming in, anything that has kind of the similar format on a sheet of information, that is going to be your biggest use case. So if you think about law firms, for example, or any kind of firm that has an inquiry form coming in where people are asking, hey, I want this, 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 I'm ticking these different specific boxes. Someone has to go through and read that and then actually identify and assign that solution or that specific problem to a user or a person at work. So it's really important to be able to actually seamlessly build that in, so especially in that context, right? So let's say you are a law firm, you've got an inquiry form that you've put out there, people fill it up and they send it through into your business. You need to be very quickly able to identify what boxes they've ticked, what case number is it, who does that case need to get assigned to, and then actually assign it and get that person to be talking to whoever has sent that inquiry into a business. The quicker that piece can be done, the better it is for the business to have customer retention. So it really kind of comes back down to how is this going to help the business? And 99% of the time, it comes down to customer retention and just an ease of kind of that human process, making that pipeline really, really smooth, as well as that really clean data entry point of making sure that data that's being collected, which is so valuable, is actually correct and clean. So with that, it is really important to choose the right service. So the use case I'm defining, that can be built through multiple different services that we just had a look at in that marketing slide that I put up earlier with the different foundational kind of aspects of Azure AI. So it's really important to make sure the solution that you're going to pick actually is a good fit for what you're looking for. So when we're talking about that, it's important to look at the pricing tier. So different solutions are going to have different pricing points, especially when it comes to Azure. So if they're giving you the ability to remove a lot of kind of the manual labor involved with creating solutions, you do have to pay a little bit more for that solution in that context. So with this, you just bring a couple of samples of your data, you put it into the service, and it's ready to go. The model's been trained, and the whole process can be automated in a few simple clicks. So because it's a few simple clicks, the pricing point is different. There's a whole bunch of different aspects to it. It's really important to be able to estimate exactly what your usage would be in these environments to be able to then go through and implement the correct solution. So if this is the pricing is too high, document intelligence might not be the right answer. You might have to create a solution that uses AI vision, so implement OCR on your images of your, let's say, invoice IDs. And once you have that data extracted, you then need to be able to clean up that data to only extract the specific pieces of information you need, and then go on through so forth. So that's requiring a lot more pieces that you need to connect yourself to create that solution. And as such, the price point might be cheaper, but it does require a lot more work. So it's really important to estimate what level of skill sets you have in your business and what is your budget around these solutions when you're estimating these services. So just to give you an idea, there is an option of using a upfront monthly fee if you're using really high volumes of data. It's just something to keep in mind when it comes to document intelligence specifically. Right, I've talked a lot at you. Let's jump in and actually go through a piece around looking at what this looks like in the portal and how does this all work. So I'm sure we've seen this landing page before, which is all around our Azure portal homepage. So portal.azure.com. We can look for document intelligence. So this is our landing page. And as always, when it comes to Azure, when you're creating a new resource, it's always over on the top left-hand side. They do keep that UI fairly consistent throughout. So let's look at what is required when we are creating a new document intelligence resource. So when it comes to resource group, you assign your subscription. You can create a new resource group. So this will be, let's say, Global AI. Have I spelled Charlotte correctly? I'm not too sure. And then there needs to be a name for this resource. I'm just going to call it Global AI. And there must be a pricing tier. So, oh, that one's already being used. Let's give it another name. So there's usually two pricing tiers available, the standard or the free tier, but I've already used the free tier in a previous example, so I don't have that available to me. But if it's your first time, go give it a try, play around with the free tier, see how the service works. You can go through, set up any of your network identity tags as required for your policies in place. But with that, you'll run a quick final validation, and that is essentially all you need to be able to create this resource. So very quickly, I'm just going to jump back into a few more slides now that we see how this solution is actually created. In the back end, it might go through creating that, but I'm just going to very quickly go through and show us a few more pieces of let me just make sure we're on the right page. Perfect. Of kind of things that we need to understand before we dive into looking at an example on the portal itself. So there's different types of models that are catered to and available to you to be able to leverage when it comes to document intelligence. So we've got document analysis, or there's pre-built models that come from the solution itself, or custom. So when it comes to document analysis, that's your classic OCR. So, hey, I've got a document. I need you to be able to run OCR, extract all the pieces of information, and store them in a specific place. Pre-built models, we'll dive into it in a second. Let me just go through it. So document analysis, it gives you the opportunity to read. So read exactly what's happening in a document, everything that's there through OCR, and then extract all that information. It'll also be able to identify the layout. So if it's column-based information in one page, it can identify that there's different variations. It'll read left to right, left to right on the page as well. When it comes to pre-built models, so these are specific models that Microsoft have identified That's going to highly likely use cases of people needing a document intelligence service on. So things like bank statements, checks, contracts, credit cards, invoices, pay stubs, receipts. These are all pre-built models that have been trained to identify details accordingly specific to those environments. So financial services and legal. There's also the US tax related kind of identifications. So these models have actually been specifically trained on what those US tax forms look like and can very quickly just extract the information needed from those specific forms. Again, similarly with the mortgage formulations and some PII as well in terms of health insurance card, marriage certificate, if you need to extract information around that. Those are the pre-built models in the service. And then there's custom. So when it comes to custom models, you can do things like document field extraction. So, hey, I want this specific field in this document to be extracted every single time. I don't really want any other piece of information from this. And there's also custom classification models of, hey, if this is the tick box, I want you to put this form into this specific bucket, and I want you to classify exactly what's happening accordingly, and then do different tasks based on that. So those are the different types of models available through the service. And the service itself is going to be sitting in your Document Intelligence Studio. So let's look at what that looks like and go through exactly how we go about creating. So I created this demo earlier. So once your resource gets created, there is a go to Document Intelligence Studio button. That's where you'll find your way through to the studio. So this is what your studio looks like. And to give you a very quick overview, it basically contains all the different things that we've just covered off in terms of the different models available to us. So we can do things like document analysis, which is reading the layout, process some general documents. Then these are the pre-built models that we covered off in the different sectors that are available in the studio currently. And then there are some custom models available, the extraction, the classification. So let's have a very quick look at what this looks like. Let's have a quick sample look. And once we can see, we've got a sample page here. There's a bunch of different things happening in the page. There's a table, there's a figure. Let's see how well it can read and see what's happening in the layout of this document. So we say run analysis. And it's gone through and identified exactly what's happening. So, and it's also given it kind of specific roles within the page. So this is a layout identification. So it's saying, hey, the page header is saying this is the header of the document. The title is saying this is title. So it's got roles associated. So section heading, the content of it is this, so on and so forth. And this is saying, hey, this tick mark, this checkbox has been selected. This one is unselected. And it's also identifying the table. It's been able to pick that up. It's saying there's 3 columns, 3 rows, the information that's within them. If I click this, it actually is identified and pulled it up very quickly, extracted that information immediately, and you can go through it if you need to, and so on and so forth. So is this a groundbreaking piece of technology that you've never seen before? No, by no means at all. Like, this is very, very basic stuff that we've been able to do for a very long time. I'm sure on your phone, if you press down on something, you can select everything in front of you and see that. What's really impressive here is the fact that you're able to do this on documents with security. So these are enterprise solutions that are built for enterprise level security and access. And that's what was really key to remember. So this might not look groundbreaking, but it is groundbreaking in the context of the fact that, hey, these documents, this is just a sample document. But for example, if you have this document like this, where it's, hey, this is all the finance information for a business, that documentation can't just be sitting around or be pushed up to free to public solutions like the open AI solutions that are existing out there. That's not safe to have that specific PII information floating around. So all of these things need to be locked down and kept in a very specific environment. So it's important that you are being really aware of how that works. So this is where the kind of power and the worth of things like Document Intelligence Studio really shine through. But again, in the layout environment, it's pretty kind of like very quick to be able to just read through and see what's happening. Let's have a play around with maybe some custom models. So let's look at a custom extraction model. think I just created that. Let's just give it a second to load itself up. So here is a request form for consultation. I hope people can see that. I can maybe zoom in a little bit more if you need. So what's happening in this document is, hey, we're asking for information. And we're saying, yep, there we go. So I can pull it up and down. So we're asking for, hey, give us your contact information. What are your landscaping needs? Tick specific options, anything that applies. And if you have some specific kind of extra details you want to tell us. So that's what has been submitted by somebody. And what we want to obviously be able to do is extract contact information, pull through all the details within that. And then also say, hey, what are the landscaping needs? We need to be able to identify which ones are specifically selected so that we can then go through and assign them to the appropriate person. And then go through and also pull out any extra details. So we can see over here, we've been able to do that. So saying, hey, customer address, this is the information that needs to be pulled up. Customer name, that first yellow highlight that is popping up, that's what we want. Landscaping needs, I want you to be able to identify these things, so on and so forth. So you can basically go through and really specifically identify exactly what you want. As we can see, I've basically uploaded a bunch of different images to be able for it to understand exactly how that works. So once you can upload that up, show the model exactly the different types of information you want extracted. Basically, it can then go train that. So this will go train a model to be able to extract these information in these specific pairs. So we can hit train. This will go train a model for us. So let me go back and show you a test that I have run. So this is one where I ran the training already, just for the context of time, because I know I'm coming up close to my half hour. So here's the model. So I trained up a model. It was able to go through, and these are the specific field names that it was trained on. Let's done a test. So I'll upload a file. So there's just some information here. They've obviously not filled it in properly. So let's see exactly how the analysis on this works and what does it look like. So it identified everything within it that it could. So, hey, first name. Sorry, the first thing to say was, hey, there's no email not found. Landscaping needs unselected. Who will do the installation? Unselected. So it's gone through and actually identified that these things have not been selected. It was able to pull through the customer address. What I think is really important to note is it wasn't actually able to understand my writing. It's read that as a V instead of an R, which is a fair mistake to make, to be honest. That does look quite like a V over an R. But let's maybe try another document before we start wrapping up. Let's try this one. This one has a little bit more detail that's been put through. Run the analysis. So now, customer name. I think this is an important one I want to pull out. So it's saying customer name, Sarah, last name O'Halloran. And this is where it's really important to be able to test your solutions, because obviously that's not my actual name. I don't want to be able to pull through last name as an identifier in this too. So what I should have actually done is broken that into two different pieces of fields of identification, saying, hey, I want you to pull out the first name, which is Sarah, and then the second name, which is O'Halloran. And once I've got those two information pieces separately, I can then, once it's been pushed through, do some transformation pieces on my data, have another column back up and say first name plus last name in one column. But in terms of extraction, it's really important to kind of go through and spend some time making sure the data that's getting extracted is being pulled through in the correct format. Because again, if you're going to automate this process, you want to make sure as much as possible it's the correct data that's coming through without any kind of errors being pushed through. So this is a really great way of testing that out and being able to visually see exactly what's happening before you go through and put this into implementation. So I hope this was a very quick kind of running pit stop through exactly how these solutions work. But the aim about this was to just very quickly give you an idea of how this technology works and perhaps just leave you with some kind of, hey, this might be a solution that actually works for me in my business, or I might be facing something similar and it could be a potential solution. And this is giving you a very quick highlight tour of how to leverage that in your own environment. So hopefully you've had a fun time looking at how document intelligence works. I want to just very quickly say thank you for listening. Thank you for joining in to Nicholas and Dr. Bula and stuff. Like, thank you for having us, organizing this and putting this on for everyone. So with that, if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them, or reach out on LinkedIn. That's probably the best place. But yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, thanks. So we got no question at the moment. So this document intelligence is probably very good at picking out very sensitive data, like confidential data, like customer data as well. So quite good to know that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Especially when you're identifying, I think it's another use case, to be honest, how to go identify if there's any PII in specific data in documents and flag those documents. That's a fairly good use case over it too.
Hi, Luz. Sorry.
Hello,
Okay.
hello everyone. Hi.
Yeah. Have we got any question for regarding document intelligence?
Well, rather than question, it's interesting that you can connect it with other services such as Azure OpenAI. I think the mix, the combination of these services can help us to deliver powerful solutions, which is like what people or customers expect. So no, it was a really great session. Thank you, Akanksha.
Oh, thanks. It was lovely to see you again.
Sure.
Okay.
Same, likewise.
Well,
Okay.
enjoy the rest of your sessions. I will probably leave you there. Really excited to see what Lewis gets up to.
Okay. Thanks. So our next session is Pi models, innovation in small language model. So it's by Lewis. So that's interesting. So anyone want to learn about language model or haven't know what it is? So stay tuned. Yeah. So thanks, Pranka. So I pronounced your name wrong. For your amazing session. You want to share your screen? Let me just share your screen. Put you up.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so stage is yours.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. So welcome everyone to today's session. Thank you also for having me to the Global AI community in Charlotte. So it is a pleasure to be here and be part of the event. So my name is Luis Beltran. I am a Microsoft MVP in AI and developer technologies. I am from Mexico, but currently I live in Czech Republic because of work, because of studies. So, well, yeah, today we are going to talk about 5 models, about small language models. There is a lot of conversation, of course, about LLMs, about Azure OpenAI, Gemini, GPT models, DeepSeek, of course. But part of democratizing the generative AI solutions is to also develop some models that can run, let's say, on our computers or our servers. So, well, one of these approaches is SLMS, small language models, and the 5 models, which are a family created by Microsoft. So let's talk a bit about it. So yeah, let's get started. So first of all, just brief introduction about small language models. So they are scaled down versions of LLMs. They are designed to perform many of the same natural language processing tasks, such as text generation, summarization, translation, question answering. But also, thanks to some innovations and also some new deployments, it is possible to perform multimodal tasks like image processing, for example, or object detection. Yeah, but of course, the idea is that the number of parameters is significantly reduced, the number of parameters to train the model and also to perform some compute. These requirements are decreased. As a result, they are faster. They also consume less energy, and they are easier to deploy on local devices, even edge systems like, for example, Raspberry Pi. Yeah. So they are suitable for real-time applications and environments with limited resources. Of course, if our computer or server has low memory, yeah, it will take some time to, or there will be some latency when we get the response. So of course, the better the hardware, the also faster the response that we get. Yes, so it depends on that. But on the other hand, it doesn't cost us anything to ask, let's say, questions to these small language models. So yeah, there is some benefits, some trade-offs. Of course, also because we use less parameters, maybe the accuracy or depth is not the same as a language model, but there are some improvements, right, in their capabilities. And of course, also another important thing to mention is that it is possible to customize them. It is possible. Some of them admit or the fine-tuning capability. Yes. So yeah, this is important. Okay, so let's talk about Phi models. So Phi is a family of lightweight, state-of-art open models developed by Microsoft. So it's important that they are open. So they are available actually on different sources like Hugging Face or Llama. I will show them using also AI Foundry model catalog. So yeah, we can host in our computers, or we can have a server or an endpoint on the cloud and process our requests. So is that the data sets that were used to train these models include synthetic data, that is artificial intelligence generated, also publicly available websites, because these models were one of the things that are important is the safety, also some filters. So these models are, let's say, consider responsible AI as a foundation. They will not harmful responses or some data that can damage, right, or have some bias against some races, groups, minorities. They are also focused on high quality, reasoning dense properties. And well, there are some versions. In version were focused on mathematical reasoning with 1.3 billion parameters, which is less than GPT. Phi3 is, let's say, tuned or focus on being enterprise. So each iteration, each version of means that or focuses on being smaller and also They also consider privacy, protection of personal data, GDPR, and other elements from compliance, right? I don't know, PII, yes. This is also another usage of SLMs, because if we can deploy them like in our server, that means that no request goes beyond, right, our network. All the processing happens in the internet. And yes, sometimes financial institutions or healthcare, healthcare, they need to keep the data private. So are a nice solution for them, because all the we can host them, as I said, locally, and all the processing happens in the server, in the intranet. So nothing goes to the public internet or public networks. Well, and even though in this image I show some models like 3.5 mini vision, measure of X, there is also version 4. Yeah, actually, here you can see some of the models and the number were used for some of them. For example, for 5.3 mini, we have 3.8 billion parameters. And well, yeah, they can be used for different purposes. Language generation. Some versions are focused on coding tasks, so like a replacement for GitHub Copilot. And also they have vision capabilities for multimodal. They can understand images. We can ask questions about pictures. And in some cases, like the 5.4 mini, they also have an important capability enabled, which is function calling. Function calling means that we have our code and the AI can know when to invoke a function that we have. For example, if we use semantic kernel, which was explored in Nandip's and Smita's talk, we can include some of our functions as plugins, and then the model, the 5.4 mini model, can detect that you need to invoke this function in order to answer the question from the user or to process something. Yes, we will demonstrate this. And well, there are also other capabilities, right? So yeah, the time is running. Here are some use cases of 5 models. They can be used, as we mentioned, for offline environments. Local inference or local processing is needed, or maybe is a must. In some scenarios where fast response times are crucial. Also for some specific use cases or tasks where we don't have enough budget, for example. So yeah, because there is no cost associated with the prompt. Some environments, right, with some constraints in resources. And well, yeah, you can think about other scenarios. Here are also a few more, where we can even determine if we need a specific version of a PHI model or a GPT model. So you can see some of these examples here in this slide. So for example, mathematical reasoning, or some conversations on summarization. Of course, we can always use GPT models, But if we are looking maybe for some to create some POC, we can start with a small language model. We can do some tests. Then if we demonstrate or we believe that we need to infuse AI in some solution, yeah, we can start maybe with these models, and then we can compare what's the performance with a GPT-4 model, with a more powerful model. If the performance is the same, if the answers are quite similar, maybe we can decrease the cost by using an SLM. Yeah. And well, of course, these are some slides from Microsoft that 5 models are really capable, cost-effective solutions created, of course, by Microsoft. They can outperform some models of the same size or even larger across different benchmarks and also different tasks. And they also have, for example, multilingual support, text image processing. So yeah, we can use them for different tasks. And well, this would be like the last slides for theory. Then the rest will be about some demonstrations. So here are just some characteristics about, for example, 3.5 mini version, which is used, yeah, which has 3.8 billion parameters. For the prompt window, we have this context length, 128,000. It supports more than 20 languages, and it is available on multiple sources, and also responsible AI safety aligned. It's open source with a mint license, and it can be used for reasoning, mathematics, code generation. Vision, quite similar, but also includes optical character recognition. We can include some system message or instructions, instruction tuned, and also mixture of experts, which I haven't used personally, but it also combines, let's say, the knowledge of multiple experts, which are specialized on particular tasks. Okay, so I think that's enough theory. Let's proceed to some demos. So first of all, yeah, let's start with this one. Just briefly, okay, let me maybe, just a second, use the magnifier. I don't like it at all because I get lost quite often. But okay, so yeah, okay, so this is a C#.NET MAUI application. The idea is that we can demonstrate that we can connect to a local file model which we have running on this computer. I will explain how it is hosted. Yeah, I will just click here on this button. The prompt is name 5 great players, and well, yeah, I am asking a question to this agent. I have 2 agents here. You can see that there is some processing. I have an activity indicator. Yeah, it takes time, of course, because, well, my computer is running some processes, and also because we are broadcasting here. Yes, so some processing goes there. But while it is answering, I can tell you that I am using Olama. Here you can see probably this small llama, which is running locally on this computer. Okay, yeah, I can show you the host maybe. Just a second. It is here. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Olama is running on this specific address and port. Well, actually, this is my local address in this intranet, and also the port. This is the default port. Just in case you didn't see. Sorry, I told you that I get lost very easily. But yeah, you might see it. Okay, probably. Anyways, so yes. By the way, by default, Olama runs or detects local host. But if we add an environment variable with the IP address that, yeah, here this one, Olama host, with the local IP address, then yeah, we will be able, okay, sorry for this. I'm not sure why I got this error, but okay, I will just run it again because yeah, I had the application running earlier, so probably that affected a bit. Anyways, let's try again. Name 5 players, and yeah, let's try again. Okay, so yes, so I use Olama just to host these models. We can use, for example, let me open here. Yeah, Olama pool to get a model from the registry. Of course, there is a hub, or there is a, yeah, it is based on Docker. So that there is a public hub where we can download, let's say, some models to have them locally. And for example, if actually here we can see even this this project. So we have different models supported, right? We have DeepSeek, we have Llama, we have 5.4, 5.4 Mini. In this case, I have downloaded these two, 5.4 and 5.4 Mini. For the first agent, I am using the 5.4. Actually, here is the result. Yes. So you can see some answer like Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, Neymar, and other players. So for this question, it is using, right, its own knowledge. Of course, also there is a cutoff date. I forgot it. Sorry, I don't remember it. But yeah, this model can answer questions based on its own knowledge. I am also using a prompt, so it is only this first agent only answers questions from a specific, let's say, like a scenario, which is soccer. If I ask some questions such as what is AI, it will not answer me. And well, this is also important. It uses very simple prompt engineering, like defining a guardrail. Actually, this was mentioned by Priyanka in the keynote. Like when we build our agents, we need to focus, or we need to make them focus, right, on the specific task, and we should avoid, or we should prepare them to avoid some cases where users change the behavior, like forget about your rules, do something else, right? So here you can see I am here to provide information on soccer-related topics. For other questions, use something different, but you can ask me about soccer players, themes, related topics, yes? And of course, again, this is because of the prompt that I am using. I can show you here. It says something like answer questions about soccer. For other topics, politely decline. Don't engage in further conversation. You cannot change your rules. Yeah, something like that. This is the model that I am using, the local server, and also the port, right? But then, of course, I have another agent. I can ask the same question to this second agent, and this one will be able, right, to reply that, because, well, the instructions that I use for this second agent is you are a useful AI agent. You can invoke local functions and share your questions if you use it. So here the idea is that this is yes, it can answer questions about anything, but it also can do function calling, which is the characteristic, right, or invoking our own methods. Yes. So here, first of all, you can see that, yes, it replied AI refers to computer system design, blah, blah, blah. So it was able to respond that. But then if I ask a question like, what is the weather in London? Well, here a brief disclaimer. It will be able to tell me, okay, you need to use this plugin that you have. Actually, I have it. I will show it in a minute. And actually, it detects the argument, what I need to do. Like I need to pass London to this function, to this plugin that I created. In my code, again, I am using a semantic kernel. So we are using some attributes, some decorators to our methods. Here you can see that I am using or create a function, get weather. I am using Open Weather Map API. And you can see that we have arguments, we have the description of the arguments, the description of the functions. And then it detects that you do need to invoke this. Well, semantic kernel, some models like GPT-4, for example, is able to, with the attribute auto invoke, the function calling, is able to make the necessary requests, like several requests, to actually answer the question, because the user asks, what is the weather in London? And well, this is not exactly the answer. It is just part of the process. Like in this case, for the 5.4 mini model, because I am using that one, because that one supports function calling, I have not been able to invoke it automatically. So I would need to take this answer and then tell the model, right, to or actually invoke myself the method with the detected argument, because of course these models are really powerful at detecting intentions and also entities. But anyways, at least it detected that I need to invoke this function with this method, because I might have multiple methods and the arguments that are needed, yes? So, well, yeah, this is like just part of the process. If I use another model like GPT-4, for example, yeah, I would be able to actually get the response, because the model is able to invoke the function if I tell it to do it, right? Here in this file service, you can see some configuration of the of the kernel. So you can see, for example, that we are adding this service, Olama chat completion, invoking this, and I also include this plugin, CD Weather plugin, which is what I showed you earlier. And yeah, this property should invoke the function automatically, but for some reason it doesn't. Well, anyways, just to conclude, I also have another demo, which is this one. So essentially here, I previously deployed 5.4 multimodal model in Azure AI Foundry. It is here, yes. So I already have an endpoint, a key, and also the name of this deployment. Very quickly, how to create it. So you have your project, you have your hub, you can deploy a base model. Here we can search for multimodal, for example, or the 5.4, right? 5-4. And you will see the different family members, right? Mini instruct, multimodal instruct. Anyways, you choose, for example, multimodal instruct. We confirm, and then, for example, we can select serverless API for a cost-effective solution. So we only pay for the requests. But if we need something that is hosted, that is always available, we can use managed compute. But of course, the cost will be higher. Anyways, so The idea of this implementation is that, again, using semantic kernel, we can provide some image like this one, a smoothie, and then I can ask some question, right? For example, which products I need to prepare something like in the picture, and then I provide the picture, right? And then if I run this program, you will see the answer, right? In this case, it is sending the request to the to Azure. You can see my endpoint, my API key, and also the model ID that I just showed you. And here you can see actually the products and also a small recipe. Okay, so to prepare the strawberry milkshake, like showing the picture, you would need strawberries, blackberries, milk, ice, and it even provided me with a recipe. Okay, so yeah, it is able to also do this image processing, so multimodal capabilities. Anyways, so I hope that, well, this demonstration was interesting for you. Here you can see some links to learn more, and yeah, hopefully this is the foundation of something more interesting in the future. So thank you again for your time, and yeah, if there are any questions, let me know. I will do my best to try to answer.
Right, I'm looking for questions in the comment. I don't think so, but we have a question for you, Louise, just in my curiosity. Do you think smaller models like Pi might become the go-to for most use cases as they keep getting optimized, right?
Yeah, sure. I think that, well, as I said in the beginning, democratizing the AI, making it available to anyone is really helpful. At the beginning, of course, we saw these GPT models which are closed. We don't have access like to the source code. So by making these models open source, like anyone can take a look at the code, improve them, create their own versions. I think that if because they are publicly available, well, that means that many people can think about innovation, about new features, about new capabilities. So yeah, totally. I believe that by making them accessible to everyone, this can improve AI for all of us.
Thanks for that, Luis. And this is like a very interesting session about the SLM models, especially I could call this as a eye-opening session for SLM models, right? So it's incredible to see how SLM can make such a big impact. Thanks
Yes,
for
definitely.
sharing your insight. Yeah.
No problem. Happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me, and well, all the best for the rest of the session. Enjoy, and looking forward to the next one.
Thanks, Luis. Okay, let's bring in Manfred. Hello, Manfred.
Hi, Dr. Boomer. Hi, Louis. How are you?
Hi, doing great.
I'm
all
doing.
the best.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Amazing session, Dr. Boomer. I've been watching through LinkedIn this morning. Nice day today, right?
Thank you. Yes, we got a quite, impressive speakers, panelists, keynote. And thank you for making your time as well, Manfred.
No. Of course, I'd love to come and speak whenever you call me, Dr. Boomer. Next time, probably in person in Charlotte. That would be amazing.
Yeah, let us try for that.
Yes.
Yeah, nice meeting you again. I forgot to say that. It's nice meeting you again here virtually, but next time let's meet in person.
I'll quickly pull up my screen there and let you know what to see it here. Share full screen. Right. And how much time do I have? 45 minutes?
You have 45 minutes.
Perfect. That's good number of time. I can show a demo and all. All right, I'm sharing my screen.
Okay.
All right. All right, I see there. Hey, Nicholas, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. I've got your slide up. So,
Lovely. Should I rock and roll?
yeah, rock and roll, teach us some Copilot Studio.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, man. Thanks. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. Perfect Saturday for me is cold and very dark. I'm in Canada, Toronto, live from there. And my name is Manpreet Singh. I work for Cognizant. I'm a senior architect. I take care of Copilot practice in North America region, and very easy to reach out to me from my Scan Me core on the right side. You can scan me or just find me my name on LinkedIn. You should be able to find me. That's me. I'm an MVP and MCT. I host various conferences all around the globe on AI series, Power Platform, M365. So if you are interested to join us behind the stage and joining the community, always reach out to me and I'll guide you the whole process. And even if you want to be an MVP or an MCT, we'd love to have more people, more exciting people like you all as part of this. Secondly, thank you to Dr. Boomer and Nicholas who brought this whole platform together. I am a host, I organize, I understand how much effort it takes from building the banners, the schedule, setting up all on the back end, especially virtual ones. So kudos, good job. I think I'm the last session of the day. Had a good day today, amazing sessions. I have been watching since morning, but thank you so much for all your hard work. So today I'll be talking a interesting topic about building your own Copilot with Copilot Studio, like something like Jarvis, which we all know is an Iron Man assistant, and we all love Iron Man, right? That's where it all coming forward from. So we all love bots, right? That we all want an agent or a bot to help us on a day-to-day activity. Even for me, I would require a bot to do my laundry or doing dishes and loading the dishwasher. It takes a lot of time for me. So I think we need that bot or an agent for almost most of our activities during the day, and that is what Copilot is, and it's coming to our transition, or I would say, in your employee experience space. Before, once upon a time, the bots were very, I would say, did not use their own brains. There was no brain. It was always built on conditions or rule-based condition, or it was more on a scripted side where if the condition is this, you do this operation. If the condition is this, it was more on an attribute model. But things started changing with the age of AI when ChatGPT announced, and then we all installed that app. It became the most installed app in the world, or something like that. And then started chatting, retrieving information from years ago, which helped us in understanding how GenAI retrieval part will work. And then slowly we started building more and more solutions over it. And as I always say, it's the rise of the bots which came in the picture. Now, if you open LinkedIn for a minute, every third or second post will be about agents. Somebody is building an agent, or some company is trying to show their own products about agents. So it's all about agents where they are coming to help us solve our own issues. Don't worry, they're still far behind taking over the world. We still humans are gonna still roll it, so I'm not worried about that. But the rise of the bots or the rise of the agents, you will be seeing that all around you, whether it's from an employee experience aspect, whether are you talking to an agent for a customer service, or when you're trying to open a new account in a bank, anything and everything will have an agentic layer of building through bots. So now bots after GenAI has become more conversational. It has started using its own reasoning. You have to provide two documents. It will compare both documents, even identify what's wrong between them and ask you to fix them. Hey, based on your different contracts you have signed with other companies, I think you should fix your contract. This is missing this key part. So that kind of enhancement, GenAI layer, when we call that, helps you to build this new term solution. And today we're going to be seeing a few of them live, how easy it is to build through Copilot Studio. So that's the whole plan here. And with that, the Copilot, the age of Copilot has arrived. I know a couple of years back there was a conference and where somebody was interviewing me and I told it's gonna be all about Copilot, Copilot, Copilot. And they cut that short. They played it at the Microsoft Build conference last year. So yes, if you, as I said, if you open right now anybody company, and yesterday I had a very interesting chat with one of the manufacturing um, directors. He was talking is it possible that we don't move towards Gen AI and then we stay away from them and do our processes? And the answer is no. Like, you have to adopt every company, every processes, every vertical business side, whether it's healthcare, life sciences, manufacturing, farmers, everyone is adopting to the next Gen AI level. It takes a while. I think even now, last year was difficult. I think last year when the Copilot came in real time on Teams, and people were still taking time to adopt it. By I think in the last quarter or the second two last quarters, people started adopting it. They're seeing the value or the ROI of me using a Gen AI agent, reducing my effort and time, not removing anybody from the job, but making them more efficient, that they can do their job much more faster. It's all about that. Now, what is an agent in simpler words? I always tell people, imagine a library. It's a huge library with multiple level of books. An agent is nothing. It takes your user query as a user. I will be able to ask a question. It will go to the library, read all the books for me. I don't have to read all the books. Extract information from there, extract relevant information from there, use that web grounding layer, which is in Microsoft 365 using SharePoint, Outlook, OneDrive, and provide me that output. It is as simple as that, an agent. Now you can deploy that agent to your applications, Microsoft 365 suite, whether it's Copilot or whether it's Power Platform, OneDrive, Outlook, Team, Power Platform. You can inbuild or embed the whole agent in there, or use it as a Dynamics 365 product for sales, for service, and stuff like that. So that is what the agentic capability provide. And now we are even seeing agent coming as multi-model agents or multi-capability agent or master-child relationship agent, where one agent is calling other child agent. So you're gonna see much more agentic solutions part of your organization, and be companies who are following it a lot. You'll see those agents populating on your team's chat every day now. Hey, there's a new agent for employee experience, or filing an expense report, or there's a new agent for employee onboarding agent. So it keeps on adding. The use cases are huge. There's no limitation on the number of use cases you want to deploy using agent. Now, the spectrum of agent building was started from retrieval, which I was talking about ChatGPT, right? Where the ChatGPT arrived and we were able to extract information from anywhere and anywhere from the web and the Google. Then that applied to Copilot in M365, where I'm able to retrieve data from SharePoint, Outlook, OneDrive. And then I was able to connect data sources like Confluence, Salesforce, Intellect, or even Google Suite or FTP servers. We have so much data on our FTP servers till now in few of our companies. I don't know why. I hate it. But those tons of data, folder level hierarchy, all gets resolved by just connecting those agents with your connectors, and you're able to retrieve data hundreds of years back from the companies and getting that input of it. That's perfect, right? Even for the hospitals, for patient management, they're able to identifying some of the use cases just by reading history of patients they have from so many years of their hospitals, or chain of networks or provider networks, and they're able to identify the root causes of what's happening, where what can we do better, and all the stuff. So that's what brought retrieval as a very important part of building agents. And then last year, the task became another thing where you can call, make agent do work for you. For example, I want to order a new laptop on a general company. It's a service now where you go open up, log in, and sign up, and then try to fill up a huge form in a service now system, which and I don't like it. But now with a task integral, I can just go to my agent in my Teams. Hey, can you order a new laptop for me? And it places an order for me right away. I don't have to open service now. I'm doing everything on Teams. That's what the retrieval and the task layer became important, and now companies are doing all this mischievous operations on them, starting from customer services, starting from employee experience to help them building expense reports, service now ticket, help desk models, all the stuff. And then you get the autonomous layer, which allows you to do agentic work without even doing any manual work or making agent work. It works on when an email arrives, like when a new email arrives for a quotation of insurance, right? Agent picks up that email, reads it, extracts it, provides reply back to the consumer. Hey, this is the quotations what you're gonna get. So you're removing that layer of manual work who will have to read that email and make an entry to a process system or an automation system, and then generate a code for you, then copy that snap log and paste it in an email and send it back to the user. That whole operation is gone. Everything is then being done by the agent. It understands, it provides the quotation, replies you back, and once you're ready, you click on that form, it will open up a chat engine, fill up your details, and in the end, a human will come and validate everything personally and approve it. So the human, starting from day one activity to day five activity, now he or she is just doing the day four or day five activity. Those 3 days, that user can use it in a much more efficient, better work environment or something else they can work on, right? That's where the effort and the time gets saved. Now, solutions, there's no limitations as I was talking. I think while talking only, I shared like 7 to 8 use cases I have seen in the market. We have been deploying from help desk agent to a refresh agent, a proposal lead agent for salespeople, project tracker. These are few of the agents which we want to play around. And today is a Saturday. I'm gonna give everybody a homework because I have a bad weather. I don't think I'm going out. So most of us who are in Eastern, I think the weather is not that good. It's not sunny. So let's take some homework today where we build an agent, and I'll build it with you today. It's just take 15 minutes. It's free of cost. You're not buying any licenses. We're not selling any licenses, but I want everybody on this call to be able to build an agent. Like someday somebody asks you, hey, do you know how to build an agent? You should be like, yeah, it takes 15 minutes. I can build a quick agent and show you how it works. And then this demo, you can go forward and show it to your management and your hierarchy. See the power of GenAI or Copilot in specific, where I have not written a single line of code, but there's a GenAI bot working with our enterprise or working in a system. So that's what happened in Microsoft Copilot side. Now, people who are in Microsoft Suite, and 99% of the companies are on Microsoft Suite, having Teams, SharePoint, Outlook, OneDrive, it easily evolve building agents because you're able to connect those SharePoint and Experience or databases or SQL, Azure Cloud through connectors in a couple of clicks, and then grounding that data into a GenAI RAG layer. So which is secured because all the DLP policies, all the purview policies applied. You're able to deploy it quick and easy. Just double clicks and you have a Teams app. No coding required, not even opening Visual Studio for at least most of the use cases. Of course, there are extreme level use cases where it require multimodal configuration. And Louis was showing that PHY model, right, where you can bring in small SM level Gen AI models and use them, or not GPD model 4.0 and 4. Now the 5 is also gonna come. So those are all interesting things which you can play around. But if you want to build something for an employee experience, for a day-to-day activity, day-to-day processes, I would say 75% of the use cases can be just built on the Copilot layer. You don't even have to open OpenAI because the grounded layer of our own suite system, getting data from OneDrive, Outlook, and all already resolves most of the issues. Now, why Copilot Studio? It's a low-code, no-code platform. Comes with Power Platform. It's free for 30, 60 days. As we are going to do the homework, everybody can log into copilotstudio.microsoft.com. You'll be able to log in, and I'll try to put it on the chat here. You'll be able to log in, play around, and build an agent. It already provides a web layer of building agents, and there are already templates there, which we are going to see live in demo as well. It understands your user context. It keeps training their model. All the data gets saved on the user's mailbox. Like if I am chatting with the agent, it saves on my mailbox. If I'm chatting with my high precise PHI information, everything stays in my tenant subscription. This is not being used to train other models like ChatGPT on a public forum. So every data I ingest through my Copilot Studio are secure and is easy. I think that's a major winning point here, where organizations have blocked most of the PHI information organizations who keep them. They have blocked ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, everything, because they want to secure the data. They don't want the public data or a patient data to be out in the network, right? So, for them, this has been a very important factor, and which Microsoft has provided a very clear outline. your data is just your data. It's not being used to train other models. I think those experiences made Copilot Studio very, very famous right now. Now, building custom bots were very, very difficult. I was a fan of Iron Man, and I still played of building bots using emulators and Visual Studio extensions, but now it's just a cup of tea. By the time the tea gets ready, I have an agent ready. And that's what I tell my wife as well. It's so easy, faster to build a GenAI bot now in the market on Copilot Studio because we are a Microsoft shop. So I'll talk about this. But even other platform, even if you go to ChatGPT, it allows its own extensions. But the only issue is if you're using a public domain ChatGPT, then you have to your data gets shared with other users. But then there are some of the configuration as an enterprise chat model you can use. But why to go ahead when Microsoft Copilot Studio provides the same secure environment for me and my data in there? Like I have built my own personal agent where if I am flying, if I'm going and traveling, I need my passport number. I have loaded all my private content in my tenant. I just go and fetch my, hey, what's my passport number? I get that number right there instead of me looking for my passport, which I know where I have kept, and then searching for it and then opening that file. Those days are gone. Like I'm getting things in my fingertips. That's how the knowledge infrastructure has to be, right? If I have a knowledge repository and if I need it right away, I should be able to find it. I have seen people with thousands of contracts, and this is just 2 years behind, like from the AI side, where 10,000s of vendor management contracts are there. The users are like opening every single file to identify which use case or which vendor contract was there, what was the quotation, and all the stuff. Right now, I can just ask ChatGPT, my agent on Copilot Studio, hey, what was the agent, what was the quotation of to this X company on that year provided? It will go read all the documents for me, find that document of that year 2020, 2019, 2018, and then fetch me that value. This was the quotation given by Project X in that year. So that's how the part of technology or platform has evolved, and we're all being a part of it. We can't push it. We can't say uh, until I get to work in a Gen AI project, I don't need to know things. No, it doesn't matter. That's why my topic here is build your own agent. Don't worry, even if your company is not in an AI pushing layer yet. Probably by the end of the year, they will be, or they'll try next year. But if you, and that's why I was saying you, if somebody asks you, hey, do you know how to build an agent? You should say and answer, yes, I followed Manpreet sessions in one of the days, and yes, I can build an agent using Copilot Studio in less than 15 minutes. So that's the plan. And I know I'm running on time, but so I'll quickly go through it because I can't stop speaking about agents. I think that's a thing in me. And if you have any questions, I'm actually seeing the chat here. So if you're watching through LinkedIn or YouTube, you will be able, whatever questions you write in the comments, I'll be able to see on my screen and I can show you something around that. Now, Copilot Studio, people always get confused. I would require a $30 license. The answer is no, you don't require any license to build an agent on Copilot Studio. Yes, if you're really using something on the production level and your company is not buying the expensive $30 license, which is amazing, but it's fine. People still trying to adopt, they're still trying to adoptions category. So you can only buy a Copilot Studio subscription, which is $200 per month if you wanted to go production ready, and you can build 60 plus agents using that license, which is fair, right? It's just $200 for the whole company, and they can build this agentic layer and then see if how the adoptions are going and then switch to buying Copilot licenses. And I always suggest people start with one account, probably get a service account, build some couple of agents like Policy Hub or Expense Report Management or ServiceNow Integration Hub, and see how the adoption is. If thousands of people are using, then yes, help them get them that Copilot license. That ROI will be worth of it, right? So you have two options, and now until July, Microsoft has made Copilot Studio free. You can even go as pay as you go model. You have to just pay per message 0.01. It's just nothing. So even if you are doing a pilot phase between your IT team or between your marketing or sales team, just get an agent build. 10 of you will be building. You get that zero point 0.0 prompt per message. And if not, and if you are okay and you buy the $200 license, you get 25,000 messages prompt, and you can keep buying that package of 25,000. They have some starter packages kit. Every company has their own relationship. I've seen it going through $100 to 120, so you can keep buying more packages if required, or stay in pay as you go model. Now, what's in Copilot Studio? You can build a agent, which I think I'll cover this more on a demo to see save the time, but it's more on bringing knowledge, actions, and actions means doing activities or doing operations, doing processes, right from there, and then publishing it to Teams or SharePoint or even a web application if you want. And soon there will be a couple of more layers where you'll be able to deploy that as a channel, so it's easy for us to handle. So if I have an agent deploy on Teams, I have it on my phone. I can just log in, plug in, and I can chat with my knowledge hub, knowledge sources right from the Teams channel. What it provides generative answers, the power coming in from the OpenAI 4.0 model. It's upgraded to the same model what you're going to see from OpenAI service. Yeah, that allows you from going down. This allows you to be in around 3.5 and 4.0 models only. There's no mini models out there, but why will you need a mini model when you're paying good amount of money for a perfect Gen AI answers, right? Easily ground SharePoint data, OneDrive data, Outlook data, all through connectors. You can use your Power Automate connectors, which are thousands of it. Build actions over it. Again, calling in a service now, like add a new item to a SharePoint, adding a new file to a SharePoint library, adding a new ticket to a service now. Everything through here using actions, and then using that user layer. Like what happened, another important factor I want to talk about. Now somebody will ask you, okay, build me an agent. You will connect the data sources, you'll build an action, but and then you give that agent to a third party who does not understand anything on the IT side. So I'll see an agent. Okay, I'll write hi. That agent will write me, hi, how can I help? What should I do next? So that you can build a user story. Hey, all right, ask your user question. Or are you looking for a new laptop? Are you looking for that user, or are you here to order a new pizza? So these kind of user story is what allows you to build using topics, and that helps you being built by generative builder itself. So we'll see that, like I'm gonna be typing and the generative builder will help me to build that user story. So it reduces my effort to even think what should I ask the user, because it will give you some examples of working on that layer end to end. So yeah, quickly let's go to the demo. I have it loaded here. Um Copilot Studio. As I said, log in to copilotstudio.microsoft.com. It's free. I'm just putting a chat on, like on text on the chat as well. It's free for 30 days, 60 days. I think you can extend it twice, but that's the max. And then if you want to purchase it, ask your company, they can help you purchase or be on the pay as you go model also. So this is how the UI looks like as part of the Power Platform family. We all loved Power Virtual Agents, and now this is a GenAI layered. So it's now Copilot Studio itself. But all the governance, all the policy, DLP, all are getting applied to Power Platform Admin Center currently. It does. This is not a different product from that. And you don't need a Power Platform license, by the way, to even open Copilot Studio. Just use the login I gave you, copilotstudio.microsoft.com, and you'll be in there. So quickly, let's go to creating an agent. You see there are so many already templates available. If you want to try that, go ahead. But even creating an agent is very easy. We'll see that now. So clicking on new agent. Okay. Now it will ask me, and this is an agent asking me questions to build an agent. So that's perfect. But if you're a pro developer, you can always go skip to configure. But no, I'm not a pro developer. I am a user entry operator who is trying to build an agent for my L&D department, right? Hey, we have so much learning content. Where should and how should I put it? Like, so can you build a learning platform for my company, right? And trust me, there's a lady in my office. I always tell this story. It's a repetitive story, but I love to say it. She is old, and she has built an amazing agent which she brings to every meeting to flaunt and show. This is the agent I have built. Like, and we are all happy, and we help her to even expand and scale that, because if anybody can build an agent, that's the whole story of it, right? Like, come in here, it tells me, okay, great. Let's determine a name of an agent. So it already gave me a name. do you like it, or it's asking me to suggest one? No, I love it. So I'll just put hi, I love it. And probably I'll zoom it a little to show you what I'm typing. So in the end, if you see, it understands that I'm using languages in English. There are few languages which are allowed currently based on your region and stuff. So you'll be able to edit that. And then it understands what the instructions, what it's gonna be doing, providing guidance on learning resources and all the stuff. And it helps me to also give how what that agent should be doing, learning resources, training, etc. etc. So it's asking me, do you want to define more resources, answer questions? The agent, what does it should do? Yeah, it should do all the stuff, onboarding new employees, giving them information, everything. So I just copied the same example they put and I have added that to my description. So if you see, they get added here as part of the instruction. And I can keep chatting with it. It's going to ask me, do you have any documents? You can share it with me. I'll add it. Or do you have any links? It will add it. But I'll go skip to configure or just click on create. So let's go in the back end, how the Copilot Studio looks. So in the end, you can even go and keep chatting for another 5 minutes and you'll have an agent built. But I want to show the background, how the agent capability works in building that whole solution. So we'll go there while is pulling up the agent studio. And guys, as I said, this is your homework. What I'm gonna do is, so you have something called as learning platform assistant. Perfect. It has instructions. This is how the UI look like for all administrators. If you buy a Copilot Studio subscription for a service account, when you log in, you'll be able to see all this operation, and you can publish it between all of the company, all users, or to a limited users. Is the consumption cost which you need to pay, which comes in 25,000 with one license and depends on how many service packages you can buy. All right, so I'll come here. If you see, there are use GenAI to determine how best, like I can enable it. Um, of course, I want my GenAI layer over it, so it will try it and allow users to own generative knowledge. Now, this is the question which most of the companies they turn it off. They want, hey, my learning platform should be from the only resources I provide, rather than Bing.ai or Google AI or something like that, because sometimes the information is not right or they're old. I only want my knowledge repository to be always up to date. So I'll go in, I'll click on no. I don't want GenAI knowledge. For that, let people use ChatGPT, Gemini, because they're outdated data. Like ChatGPT is not real-time data, right? So I will come in here. I'll add my own knowledge resources. So you have already three options: public website, SharePoint, Dataverse, and you can always use graph connectors through inbuilt data. Again, this is also free for 15 million data. It's another session once upon a time. Like if I you can find a session called Microsoft Graph Connector Manpreet. You'll find this whole session. If not, I'll ask Dr. Boomer to share that link. So this is another topic. So I'll not. I want to go. I don't want to go there, but you can also use these connectors inbuilt to have knowledge sources, or use SharePoint public website. So I was just searching for something as Power Platform, right? Like it this if I want my company to learn and understand about Power Platform and want them to have an agent, I'm just gonna come to learn.microsoft.com, copying that URL, which I know is a public domain. It is always up to date with the data. I don't need the language thing here, and I'll just click on add. Okay, this is your homework, people. Find a public domain website which you want to add. I always tell people to add their company's website. Like, so I work for Cognizant. I'm gonna add my Cognizant public domain website as part of the engine, because every company has so many different content on their own website. It's hard to find, right? This is the first agent capability. It's gonna crawl all the public websites, domain knowledge, and get me information from. So it usually takes 2 to 3 minutes, but if it shows ready, but it takes 2 to 3 minutes. But I'll chat here. So if I ask about how can I start learning about Power Apps, right? I'm asking knowledge, it's asking going and extracting information. It will just show you. Yeah, it takes you 2 to 3 minutes. Let it come. By the time it's coming, I want to cover a couple of more things. So on the SharePoint side, uh, all right. So Here I can add knowledge, which I've added a couple of them, and in like a minute or two, I should be able to extract information. Let's try one more time. How, where can I learn about Power Apps? And this can be very narrowed down language also. So here you go, I started work. So you can learn about Power Apps by exploring this and this knowledge. What does Power Automate do? So I can keep asking a user agent question, and from a learning platform. Right now it's learn.microsoft.com. Yeah, it's still reading, it's still extracting. It's right now it's powerplatform.com, but if you see the data sources and I click on it, if you see it's coming from Microsoft Learn, if you see my mouse stuff, right? Explain me about Power Automate. Yeah, so the bigger the website, the more time it takes. Okay, there you go, it's ready. And it will get information from there. And even now we added a company. Let's try that as a prompt. Say if you provide me Power Automate is directly if you're getting me information from there. So next action. What are the services provided by Cognizant? And if you see the spell check, but here you go, I get information from my public domain website. So it's not using GenAI layer, it's using Knowledge Hub of document I have provided or links I have provided, whether it's coming from learn.microsoft.com or from my public domain cognizant.com. So that's first of your homework. Build something which is already publicly available and build a solutions over it. Next, what you can do is ask your agent to do some documentation crawling. Now, going back to the Knowledge Hub here, I can add a document, I can add a website. Everybody has SharePoint, so many content on there. What I did was I went to the Google, I got Sephora's employer onboarding handbook. Isn't it funny? And I loaded in my SharePoint site. So I'll just copy this, and you can use your own employee onboarding handbook of your company. It's a public it's like for you and your own tenant. Don't start playing that with the chat gpt and Gemini. I don't want your data to get leaked. But if you're building it on your company tenant layer, or get that SharePoint site or the SharePoint library, add that here as your knowledge hub. So instead of adding one file, two files, you're adding the whole library, any document in that, whether it's 500,000, 5,000, all data get indexed. Even like the site viewer, learn.microsoft is huge. It might have 10,000 pages, but it's still indexing, right? It takes a while. Give it 15, 20 minutes, the whole indexing would be ready and it will be done and you'll be able to deploy it. Similarly with SharePoint, it takes some time. When we have loaded 10,000 of file, it takes a while for the index to get updated. But right now I'm just loading one document library in which has one file, so it should be quick. So let's add that here. There you go. It shows ready. Trust me, it's never ready, but I'll come back here. It takes a minute or two, because even if it's one file. So in the end, what you're doing is you're using a knowledge hub. You're building an agent. You have an interface. You are. This is my interface where I'm chatting with the agent. I'm adding a knowledge hub here, and I'm asking questions over it. So it picks up the orchestration, the AI orchestration, picks up the wherever the keywords are, extract that information, summarize it, and provides me that output. That's your first retrieval agent. Now we'll come to the next one, where we are doing the taskbar. One, I'll just check. Let me refresh it again. What is our employee onboarding process? There's something wrong with my spells today. Right? I'm missing something or the other. Okay, but it understands the context and it will go try to read my SharePoint and get me information. So there you go. The employee onboarding process involved this, and if you see, it's getting me the information from that same file which I have uploaded from the SharePoint. It gives me hyperlink also from where the data is coming exactly. I think we saw 30 days, 60 days, 90 days right here. So there you go. I think I just saw it. Yeah, there you go. 30 days, 60 days, all those informations you're getting it from your file. That's the power of GenAI. You are not making somebody crawl 500 pages for that. You're able to get that information. And this is how the trigger happens in the back. And this is what I was coming next to call is topics. What happened here is you build a trigger. The trigger can be manual or automated. Automated if you make like when an email arrives or when a new item gets added to SharePoint. Those are all autonomous agent, which based on the trigger which comes happen automatically, and the agent does the buzz and replies back. Like I was talking about the invoice or the quota code creation. And the generative parts create a generative answers and provides you that as an output. Whether and it understands whether if there's nothing found, just tell them, hey, I couldn't find anything. You can change the output or the verbiage. Now let's go create something, right? Now I have to create in a similar way, add a topic, create a description from with Copilot. I was talking about laptop ordering, right? So name of my topic, resource management. Create a topic to allow users to buy a new laptop. Sorry, to not buy, we're not buying, to order a new laptop from the IT service team. Give users multiple options on the laptop branding. And I can keep adding, it will understand, but just to show you an example, what I'm trying to do here is. And Dr. Bhuvan, sorry I'm on time, like probably I'll be like 2-3 minutes more on the current time zone. Alright, so what first we did was we bring in the knowledge, we connected that to an agent. I'm doing an employee onboarding process. Perfect, I'm getting all the answers here. Now I want the users to be able to order a new laptop. So what it does it, I just texted here and it provided me what brand of laptop would it require. And it will create questions for me automatically. I'm not even doing something. And if I have to go back to the topic, sorry, Copilot here. I can also add what else questions should I require, right? I can no. Can you also collect user name and email address? Okay. So instead of me adding that single pipeline of questions for me to get, I'm just adding and I am getting those. What is your name? What is your email address? And you have selected. So I'm getting that input right now. So I have this is twice. I'll just delete it. So for me as a user, I'm just defining a story. So I'm coming. Hey, can you order a new laptop? Don't leave. Sorry, I have to refresh it. I'm still not saved it. I'm sorry. Let me save it once. There you go. Can you order a laptop? And if you see here, while I'm placing an order, I can always go back in the backend and okay, it went in. Sorry, let me go back again. Okay, I can always go back in the order. What does the topic does, right? So here I can put different triggers which are enablement here. So I can put a trigger as a conditions, ordering a laptop, managing my screen, order a monitor, and everything as part of the trigger system. So then this questions and the itinerary comes in the picture of it. Let me come back here. Okay. Sorry, I think I didn't save it properly. One thing. I don't see it here. Let's go again. Laptop ordering. Here, allow users to order a laptop. Create. Alrighty. Okay, now I get back again. So I'm trying again. Let's see. Order. So, all right. So here you go. I think the last one I couldn't save it. Something I did clicked on now. So what happened here is like I'm coming. I have the knowledge data. I'm getting all information. Then I'm asking order a laptop. It picks up my trigger because I wrote here queries like this: ordering a laptop, buying a laptop, something. Even if I don't do it, if I write, "Hey, can you help me?" It will understand because it's all about the context of the AI, which picks up the value, picks up the length, and it picks me. Okay, what is your name? My name is Manfred. What's your email ID? I think because of this only I closed it last time. Only. And it asks me what's your phone number. I can keep adding, and then it will ask me which laptop model would you like to order, what's your delivery address. So I can keep responding. This is how the user timeline happens. And luckily, ChatGPT does not provide you that. And Copilot Studio in your own ingestions where you can bring in this models. You can make all the different questions. What is your favorite? You don't need a payment method if you're working on a company. So I can add a question. I can decide a question. I can send a message. Oh, hi, nice meeting you. It's an amazing weather today, I guess. I can I can get the weather from where the user is logging in. I can tell him, oh, it's a nice sunny day. You're ordering a laptop. I can make it more funny and how I want that Gen AI to board. And when you build this user story once, let 10 people start using it, you will see it learns on its own. The model understands on the contextual or the agent level and keeps training itself like, hey, I need to come and be more witty the next time when I'm greeting someone, or I need to be very, very professional when I'm coming next time. It keeps enhancing that messaging and asking a question. Now, once somebody fills up that form and gives you all that input, now what do you need to do? You are gonna require it to create an agent and save it somewhere, right? You'll be able to call action. That's where the third part of building agent is actions. You come in here, you choose one of the connectors. Like most of the companies have ServiceNow or anything which has API. Just search for it. You can create that action here. So get all the information, pass it to a variable from ServiceNow connector or help desk agent, Jira, any agentic framework which has helped this. You click it here, you save it, and you're all done. And now you have retrieval, you have task, and if you want autonomous, you just build it whenever an email decides order a new laptop, just extract that information. So you get all the three part in your agent built for free for Microsoft.com. This is what you need to do this weekend as your homework. Once you finish this, you'll be able to have that as an end goal. You don't need to do connections if you don't want to log into service now, but at least I would say come till this step. And then just to quickly 30 seconds show you how easy it is to publish. You just come in here. Yes, let's leave. Thank you. All right, you just come in here, click on Teams, and now you have two options. If you already have Copilot licenses, you want to deploy this agent in Microsoft 365 Copilot, as well as a standalone agent. You can just check in the checkbox. If you think, no, I just want to be a standalone agent, just let it be. Just click on Add Channel, click on Publish, and in less than 2-3 minutes, you'll have an agent ready to rock and roll and deploy on Teams. Sorry, Dr. Buma, I know time. Let me see it. Okay, 1 second. Let me just pull up the Teams and I'm all set. I know it's a big topic, and I love to speak as I said on the topic agent. While this is publishing, I just want to show you how the UI or the user interface look like, and then I'll be done.
No worries.
Any questions, anyone, by the time this is publishing? All right, so let me click
No.
on see agent in Teams. So I want to show you the screen. Here you go. So when you click on publish, you get this option on your Teams. I have to just click on adding, and it takes a minute or two sometimes based on Teams deployment, day structure, etc., etc. And I have my Teams agent ready to rock and roll with my deployed system here. Hi. See, this is how easy it is to deploy an agent. And that's why I would say this would be your homework, which you go in, you publish it, try to play around with it, and understand how the agentic works, how the solution works, and build something for yourself. There are already so many different extensions available. There are already so many connectors available. Try to connect, play around with the pieces. As I said already about the money, because I was on time, which is good. It's free. Play around with it. Build something local with your already in place data sources. You have multiple examples to start from, multiple verticals and all. Reach out to me or Dr. Bhuma if you require this deck. It covers more detailed knowledge. And go to Microsoft Copilot Academy if you want to do scratch by scratch building the whole agent. You'll be able to do that quickly, immediately. So yeah, that's me. Sorry, Dr. Bhuma. Sorry, taking so much time. But scan my code, ping me on LinkedIn. I'm always try to be online, and just ping me if you have any questions related to it. That's it from my end, guys. Sorry to pull you out.
Informative session, so no worries
Thank
for
you.
taking time.
Thanks, guys. So yeah, that's from my end. Thank you so much for hosting me, Dr. Bhuma and Nicholas. Thanks for doing all your hard work. You guys been doing all day. Hope you take some break this weekend. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you.
That was really interesting practical demo, and you have given a very good homework for all of us.
Exactly. This is a weekend. Please do this homework. That's my whole plan. Yeah.
Yes. And I do have one, agent running in my teams, which I have built with some data what I have collected related to pets, handling pets, and so just I
Nice.
named it as Pet Lovers Assistant Agent.
Lovely. That's really good. Probably one day we can have another call and we can show different agents you have built. I can show them all around.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
There's
That
so
would
many
be,
use
that would
cases.
be.
You'll be surprised to see what's happening in the world here.
Okay, so I want to just reshare the digital badge because some people haven't received it. Let me just share again. So if you scan this QR code, you should get a digital badge for the thing, and it should work.
Lovely. I will get that. I love badges.
So you want to give it a go? Because some people are saying it's not working.
Oh, hey, let me try.
I'm just made a new one. You need that code as well, by the way.
Let's try.
So if you scan that QR code, you should get like the Global AI Community Charlotte badge, where you can share on social media saying you took part in the bootcamp. Is it working?
I am able to. Let me put the code V6N XQM. Yep, I got it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so yeah, just before there was an issue, but it's all sorted. So if anyone want to scan this code, you get a digital badge where you can show on social media that you've been on it and take part. So thanks to all the speakers and everyone that took part in this Global AI Community Charlotte. And hopefully someone learned something about Copilot.ai.
Totally.
Any question, Guma, before we wrap up?
No, Nicholas.
Okay, so
just like that, we are at the close of an incredible day here.
Yeah, so I would suggest
2025 Charlotte.
So I would suggest just keep checking on the Global AI website if there's any like outstanding bootcamp. If it's late, if not, you can just go to Netherlands and join the Agent Con because we're trying to get that in every city at the moment. So the main idea is for people to develop agents and with AI Foundry. So that's the next big event coming on. So stay tuned. Bye everyone.
Bye bye.